shall we? Week 1 of the 2023 fantasy football season. Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to our Sunday morning live stream, Kickoff with Kirchhoff, as we typically like to call it. Welcome for the next 3 hours. I'm going to be answering as many fantasy football related questions as I possibly can, with the singular purpose of trying to give you guys as much insight as possible. On the right side of the screen, as you can see, there is a bunch of names. These are updated rankings as of this morning in regards to the 4 primary positions: running back, wide receiver, quarterback, and tight end. Typically, every single Sunday morning, I have updated rankings for a half PPR 4-point per passing touchdown on screen, because again, like I went through the entire week with those 4 different videos in terms of rankings, there have been some changes over the course of the week based on injuries. Again, there is an expectation that Mark Andrews is not going to play today. There's an expectation that neither is Jerry Jeudy, if in fact these are going to take place, which again, the majority of the consensus based on people who are the insiders of the National Football League, who work for, the worldwide leader, ESPN, like Adam Schefter, Stephania Bell, they've made their, specific, designations. And I'm going to probably lean towards believing that there's going to be a high likelihood of those players missing. Now, while on the other hand, there is information regarding other players that are going to be playing, like Kenneth Walker, even though he scared us earlier this week, Ramondre Stevenson. The expectation is that Darren Waller should be able to play, but it's going to be a matter of him warming up before the game and whether or not he's going to be able to kind of find a full stride without having any sort of hindrance due to the overall injury that he sustained late in the week. Either way, I'm here trying to answer as many questions as possible. If you guys are going to ask a question, do me a favor and make sure that the question has the scoring format involved in it, because there is a huge difference between a half and a full PPR in a lot of these different circumstances. And in fact, there's a huge difference between a full PPR and a standard, right? So if you guys could do me the favor when you ask questions, let me know. Andrews is ruled out already. There are different platforms. Like if you go over to Sleeper right now and you have a team on Sleeper, he's listed as questionable. He's not even out. So there may be people that think, oh, well, maybe he has a chance. I mean, there's a reason why he's not on the list. I already know he's going to be out. That's a given. That was already announced last night, so we're good to go. Either way, again, there are going to be players like Isaiah Likely, Marvin Mims, who will definitely benefit from the absence of those specific players. But ultimately, hopefully we're going to start our studs going into week 1, set ourselves up for success in that regard, and go forward. Okay, so let's get into answering questions, because I know there's going to be a lot of them today, and I might as well start early and often. Here we go. So TB had sent in a super chat. Thank you very much, TB. I appreciate that. TB says, in a full PPR scoring format, Andrew, are we taking Davis, Swift, Van Jefferson, or Elijah Moore? If I'm picking 2 in the format, let's go. Let's see what do we have here. Full PPR rankings. What am I doing here with these players? So I have Van Jefferson and DeAndre Swift playing out of those group of players. Thank you. Appreciate it, TB. CB sends in a question. Says full PPR, flex Michael Pittman Jr., Samaje Perine, Breece Hall, Elijah Moore, Deion Jackson. Smash the like button, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Out of the available players that you mentioned, I'd feel most comfortable playing Samaje Perine alongside Michael Pittman Jr. this weekend. Thank you. Again, the assumption for Breece Hall, guys, and the reason why, for many of you who are going to ask me in regards to Breece Hall, Javonte Williams, why they're significantly lower in my overall rankings, predominantly has to do with the fact that they are not going to be playing full rotations within their games. Again, they're still coming off the ACL injuries from last year. They are going to be on pitch counts. They are going to be slowly eased into the entire offense and will most likely look like players that are kind of just being babied to an extent. They may not look like they need to be, but in order to make sure that they have the longevity of the entire season, they're going to be eased into the games for the first month of the season as expected. That typically happens for people returning from the ACL and or significant knee injuries at the running back position. So this really shouldn't surprise any of us. In regards to, the comparison of where we have Dalvin Cook and Samaje Perine, I expect them to be far more utilized within the offensive scheme in comparison to those 2 other running backs within their offenses going into week 1, especially. After we get past probably the first month of the season, we'll start to see an even distribution of opportunity, but ultimately I think it'll sit as such. CB made a great point. There's no way you just did that, Spencer, right? It's a misclick. Yeah, it's got to be a misclick. Like, actually, yeah. Let's retract that. Let's be very careful. Spencer. My man, it had to be a misclick. I already knew for a fact. So I was ready to like I don't the problem is I don't even know if there's a way for me to refund it. So you hopefully you deleted it and we're good because that's way too much. That's way too much. Okay, there's 18 weeks, my friend. There's 18 weeks. Okay, we're not trying to unload the clip in week 1. But anyway, so let me go ahead. Like CB was saying, if you guys could do me a solid, there's about 600 of you in here. The more likes we click, the better. Again, a reminder, and I'll continue to remind you guys over the course of today's live stream. Again, we have 3 hours here. The rankings on screen are updated rankings as of this morning for a half PPR scoring format, 4 point per passing touchdown. So in comparison to last year, I've kind of made the font a little bit bigger. So hopefully you guys can see it, whether you're on mobile, whether you're on your desktop, laptop, etc. So hopefully they're I guess legible to an extent in comparison to last year. I'm trying to improve as much as I possibly can, but yeah, if you guys could do me a solid, that'd be great. Click the like button. Definitely helps continue to support the channel. Thank you. Okay. Big B sends in a question. He says, full PPR, Rachaad White or George Pickens? I'd play Rachaad White in a full PPR. Thank you, Big B. Big Rich says, full PPR, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Walker, Mike Williams in the flex. If I'm playing one of them, I actually think it might be Mike Williams. Let me go check. No, not Control C. Control F, Mike Williams. Why don't I have... All right, Mike Williams is there. He's ahead of Kenneth Walker. And then who is your other option that you mentioned again? It is Sanders. Yeah, so I have Mike Williams ahead of the bunch in a full PPR scoring format. Thank you. So it would go Mike Williams, Kenneth Walker, Miles Sanders in that order. Thank you. Brandon Malone says, full PPR flex, James Cook or Deontay Johnson? I'd roll with James Cook this weekend. Thank you. Then we had Sheldon. He had his message retracted as well, so we keep it moving. Anthony Barrett. Hope you're doing well, Anthony. Nice to see you. Anthony says, PPR, Isaiah Likely or Dalton Schultz? I'd play Isaiah Likely. So I see Owen in the chat was asking specifically Isaiah Likely or Juwan Johnson in a full PPR. Considering where I have Isaiah Likely and where kind of Juwan Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, Cole Kmet, those are receiving options at the tight end position that aren't going to have as much volume in my mind in comparison to normal tight ends. They're typically like really reliant on heavy yardage and or a touchdown making their given week. So I think the cutoff, even though I have Isaiah Likely at 9 and he's on that other column, Isaiah Likely being the number 9 overall this week, I think that's the cutoff at tight end to where I'm like really comfortable playing those guys. And then 10 and below are guys that they could end up playing well if they score a touchdown, if they have, high utilization, or they could just be the regular weekly tight end bust that gets like 6 to 7 points and is like, okay, you know what, we'll figure it out next week kind of thing. But yeah, I am very confident in the idea of playing Isaiah Likely where I have him ranked on screen. All right, moving on. We had a question that came in from Connor Rudden. Thank you very much. It says half PPR, tight end Musgrave, Knox, Conklin, or Dulcich. Okay, let's go check. Let's see. In a half PPR, I'm pretty sure, where the heck is Musgrave in this old thing? Musgrave is number 18, Dulcich 19, Conklin 20, and then who is your last option? Knox, I have a 24. So Musgrave is the highest ranked amongst those players that you mentioned. Thank you, appreciate it. What about Zay Flowers and Van Jefferson, says Lucas in the chat. Zay Flowers sits as my number 40 ranked wide receiver. Van Jefferson's 41.5 PPR. So basically, outside of the top 36, so after like Juju, it would go like Nico Collins, Romeo Doubs, Marvin Mims, Zay Jones, Van Jefferson. So like those would be the players that were not able to get past the cusp and into the top 36 conversation. They're players that I still have questions regarding, either rookies that are, we have to wait and see what kind of utilization and or snap counts, target shares they're going to witness within their own offenses. I know that the absence of Mark Andrews does lead to potential of more targets for guys like OBJ, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, but I also do believe that Isaiah Likely will get himself utilized enough in 11 personnel sets, which they should be running a fair amount considering they are the Ravens, to the extent to where it's not going to boost anybody that much outside of Likely himself having himself a pretty solid week. All right, moving on. We had a question from Sheldon. Sheldon, thank you very much. Says James Cook or DeAndre Swift half PPR. We'll take James Cook there. Thank you. Wii Sports, Matt says, in a 10-team full PPR Superflex league, okay, I traded Higbee and Higgins for Mark Andrews and Amari Cooper. Is it a good deal? Yes, that's a great deal. I think Amari Cooper and T. Higgins are very close in terms of their overall value. Mark Andrews is significantly more valuable than Tyler Higbee rest of season. Obviously, under the assumption that Mark Andrews is going to be healthy going forward. But yeah, I think that's a really great trade for you. I also have Chase, St. Brown, and Cup on the IR. My other tight end is Kincaid. Yeah, you're fine. So this week, just start Kincaid, and you've got yourself a really solid roster. Elsewhere, you made a huge upgrade at tight end, while also still having very good talent from the Higgins to Amari Cooper. You get rid of Higgins because you already had Chase. You're fine there. Well done, Wii Sports. Bug Eye Buck Nasty, thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. Full PPR. Still Dotson over Moore. Yes, I would still play Jahan Dotson over DJ Moore this week. Thank you. Let's see here. G Hefe says Jahan Dotson or Drake London in the flex, full PPR. Let's go see. I think it's probably going to be Jahan Dotson again. Don't get me wrong. I really do like the potential of Drake London. I just don't trust the quarterback. That's really the issue in this entire situation. I trust Sam Howell more than I trust Desmond Ridder. So, and Desmond Ridder, he had 4 games to progress last season, and he didn't. In the 4 games, the guy literally had, 1 passing touchdown? It wasn't clicking there. I'd probably still go Jahan Dotson. Let me go ahead and confirm via my rankings. Let's see here. Jahan Dotson. Yeah, I'd go Jahan Dotson there this week against the Cardinals secondary. With Terry McLaurin pulling number 1 coverage, should open up more potential for Jahan Dotson on the other side of the field. Thank you. Thoughts of Hakeem says, sit 1, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, AJ, or Ridley. I'm going to assume that AJ is either AJ Brown or Aaron Jones. I'm going to assume because you've mentioned all these receivers, it is AJ Brown. If that's the case, I'm starting Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown, and DK Metcalf. I'd be sitting Ridley this week. Thank you, Thoughts of Hakeem. Appreciate it. CB follows up, sends in a question, and says, in a full PPR, flex 1, player between Javonte Williams, Drake London, Antonio Gibson. I would play Drake London very confidently out of those 3 potential options. Also, would you rather have Michael Pittman Jr. or Samaje Perine in the flex for the previous question? No, I would rather play Drake London over all of those potential options. Thank you. Appreciate it. Ishmael Ramirez says, in a full PPR, pick 2, Andrew. We have Dobbins, Pierce, and Sanders. Okay, so out of the bunch, I'm rolling with Sanders and Dobbins. The issue that I have with Pierce, and the reason why he's the odd man out, even though he's going to get a volume of opportunity, it's in a situation against the Baltimore Ravens run stop defense that, in my mind, really is not an advantageous matchup. Dobbins takes on the Houston Texans, secondary, or sorry, not the secondary, their run stop defense that has been one of the worst over the course of the last couple seasons. And like I mentioned, over the course of the week, it's going to be an advantageous matchup. Miles Sanders probably not going to come off the field often. He's a 3-down back and has receiving upside in comparison to those 2 guys. So he gets himself a little bit of an edge there. So yeah, if you want to roll with, hey, opportunity leads to success, which I like to preach often, you can roll with Pierce over one of those 2 guys. You would specifically be Pierce over Sanders, but Pierce has to find the end zone in order to be able to outproduce someone like Sanders, based on the fact that Sanders is likely going to have himself his 14 to 15 rushing attempts and a sprinkle of targets, which in my mind will keep him just as valuable, if not more valuable, or certainly more valuable because of the receiving upside compared to a guy like Dameon Pierce. Thank you. Appreciate it. Colin Smith says, in a full PPR, Breece Hall or Deion Jackson? I don't know how much utilization Deion Jackson is going to get in the receiving game. So, to be honest, ultimately, I don't know how much utilization he's even going to get in efficiency he's going to have on the ground. That's kind of why I've had him at this very last kind of section of the running back tier, thinking between the 2, I'd probably just roll with Breece Hall. And I'd hope for the upside. The other day, Jahmyr Gibbs, he didn't have that many touches on the Thursday Night Football game. They were trying to kind of conserve him so that he can kind of, work his way into the NFL pace of the speed of the game and all that kind of jazz. But if you can get into a situation where Breece Hall, even though he's given maybe only 8 to 10 touches on Monday Night Football, if he ends up having a goal line carry or breaks out a run or breaks out a reception, he's a talented back. And if he can make a play, I wouldn't be surprised. So in comparison to Deion Jackson, who I'm not really certain as to what we're going to get, we're not going to get any receiving upside, and the rushing upside may all be going in the direction of, the quarterback, Anthony Richardson. I'll go ahead and I'll just lean towards Breece for now. Let's see here. Connor says, why no Mike Evans in the chat? I'm pretty sure Mike Evans is on screen. I'll point you in the right direction. Mike Evans is, in fact, number 30. He's on the very right side of the screen in the wide receiver column. Thank you. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from JT86. JT says, I need one running back and one flex for this week in a standard scoring format, non-PPR. We have Khalil Herbert, Rashad White, Jahan Dotson, Cortland Sutton. Out of those available options, I would play Khalil Herbert as the as the running back, and as the flex, I'd roll with. Yeah, I'm probably rolling. Do I roll both running backs in a standard? I think I'm going Khalil Herbert and Cortland Sutton. That's at least what I would do with my lineup. Thank you. Gibby says, in a non-PPR, I need two to flex. We have Antonio Gibson, Jahan Dotson, Sutton, Pittman, Lazard, and Brees. In a non-PPR scoring format, out of those available options, I would play Jahan Dotson and I would play Cortland Sutton. Thank you, Gibby. Appreciate it. Will Taylor says, in a super flex, do I play DK Metcalf, Derek Carr, or Anthony Richardson? I'd play Anthony Richardson. I think that there is a high likelihood that he could outscore DK Metcalf. Like, let's say, for example, you're playing in a half PPR Superflex league and DK Metcalf ends up scoring 13 points this week. There's no way that Anthony Richardson's not going to put up more than 13 points. I truly do think he's going to be in a role to where they're going to get him easy passes to get it out of his hands quickly, get the receivers to make plays after the catch, and then everything subsequently after is going to be him scrambling, him on design runs. Hopefully when they get down into the red zone, he's going to be the primary goal line threat of that offense, so he should be good to go. Joe in the chat was asking, where's Taysom Hill, with 5 question marks. As of right now, Taysom Hill is a very risky start. If you would like to start him, you can go ahead and do that at the tight end position. I personally want to wait and see what they're going to use, what kind of utilization he's going to get, how many snaps he'll play. Last season, there was a heavy utilization of Taysom Hill due to the absence of running backs like Alvin Kamara and the injuries that he had. Now that you have Jamal Williams there, and he scored 17 goal line rushing touchdowns last season, there isn't much of a need for Taysom Hill to be that quarterback that punches it in. Needless to say, he can do that today. And the fact that you have Derek Carr instead of Andy Dalton, they'll trust the quarterback more to stay in games, especially down the goal line. So Taysom Hill will require, a touchdown or a huge run. Is he capable of it? Absolutely. Is it risky? Yes. And that's why I lean away from it at the moment. Just giving you a little bit of context as to why he is not available on screen. But you could roll with him. I mean, it just depends on how risk averse you are in that regard. Anthony Barrett follows up with a question, says, Akers, Dalvin Cook, or Khalil Herbert? If I'm starting one this week in a PPR, I would play Cam Akers. Cam Akers is expected to play very well. Again, even with the absence of Cooper Kupp, you got to remember late last season, there was no Cooper Kupp, and Cam Akers had a minimum of 12 rushing attempts in each of those last 6 games and really was the fantasy football kind of savior for the fantasy playoffs for those of you who had an opportunity of picking him up. Lance Wilbur says, I'm in a bad spot. Warren or Algier is my RB2. If you're playing in like a half PPR standard, I think Algier makes a lot of sense because Cordero Patterson's already kind of questionable to play. If this is an offense like last season with Ritter, they were running the ball 31 times per game with their running backs throughout that 4-game span from weeks 15 through 18. If they're going to see very similar utilization in that overall kind of regard, then we're going to see a handful, if not 10 plus touches from a guy like Algier in comparison to Warren. Warren could get himself sprinkles in the receiving game, but I don't trust that as much as playing Algier, who has a higher potential workload. Avoth in the chat was asking, Mingo not a top 36 wide receiver? No, because Adam Thielen is going to be playing, and so is Terrace Marshall. So my assumption is that instead of having the entire receiving core and all the targets to himself, it'll be spread out a little bit more in comparison to where it was earlier in the week, where Adam Thielen had missed that Thursday practice. DJ Chark was, pretty much considered out. If Adam Thielen before kickoff is a no-go, then maybe we can adjust it accordingly. But for now, we'll wait on Mingo, kind of just keep an eye on him as the week goes on and hope he plays well so that in future weeks we can trust him. All right. Kevin sends in a question, says, Christian Kirk or Dameon Pierce half PPR flex? Okay, let's go find my rankings. Let's see here. Dameon Pierce. Where art thou? So Dameon Pierce is, I'm not even joking when I say this, I have Dameon Pierce at 48 and Christian Kirk at 49 in a half PPR. Literally back to back. So I'm going to go with Dameon Pierce there. Follow up. If any of you guys who are currently in the chat, okay, as of the last, let's say, as of August 1st, 2023 till now, if you guys have used code Andrew via Underdog Fantasy and made a first-time deposit minimum of $10, got the promo code, got it locked in, made the deposit, and also got my draft guide and all that kind of jazz, if in fact you are one of those people, you can go to your email that is associated with your Underdog account right now, and you will already have an email of all my rankings for this week, which is including half PPR, full PPR, which includes flex, top 60 running backs, top 80 wide receivers, top 110 flex, kickers and defenses, quarterbacks, top 32, tight ends, top 24. That is all available. So if you check your email, probably the spam folder, it'll be there. But I don't know how many of you guys are in here. Those people are probably not having to watch because they're like, hey, why would I have to wake up at 7:23 a.m. on a Pacific Standard Time Sunday on week 1 when I can just check out the rankings 10 minutes before kickoff? So either way, just wanted to mention that we're good to go there. Moving on, we had a question from Dave. Dave says trade Ridley for Kupp. If your team can sustain it, like I had this conversation with someone yesterday. If you play in like a 14-team league and only 6 teams make the playoffs and you're in a really tough situation where like you have to win now in order to make the playoffs and you can't forfeit the potential of the first month of the season, then you probably don't make that trade. If you can survive it and a lot of teams make the playoffs, let's say it's a 12-team league and 8 teams make the playoffs, then you could probably get away with it. Thank you. Because we all know when Kupp's healthy, he's significantly better than Ridley. So I don't mind taking the risk. Ernie22 says, in a full PPR, J.K. Dobbins or Cam Akers, likely is my tight end. I understand the I guess desire to want to not stack multiple members of that offense, but I think against the Houston Texans defense of all defenses possible, and the fact that they're 10-point favorites going into the game, I'm more inclined to start J.K. Dobbins than a guy like Cam Akers. Even though they're close in the rankings, I'd still start 2 Ravens going into this weekend's matchup. Thank you. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Chris Knorr. He says, Andrew, Herbert or Deontay Johnson in a full PPR? I'll play Khalil Herbert there. Thank you. Chris Vasquez says, hey, brother. Excited for another season? Absolutely. Absolutely. Half PPR, Michael Thomas or Samaje Perine? Ooh, that's a good one. Let's go see where I had them ranked. Let's see. Michael Thomas, or I think Perine might be a little bit lower ranked than him, but I could be wrong. I am wrong. Samaje Perine 61, Michael Thomas 70. So we'll go with Samaje Perine there. In a full PPR, it's swap, but in a half, Samaje Perine's pretty much the guy. Again, the assumption is with Javonte Williams on the pitch count, Samaje Perine, especially up against a Las Vegas Raiders run stop defense, which has not been great. Their personnel in terms of defense really hasn't changed much besides their secondary, and even then, it really isn't great ranking, or they don't really rank well amongst all teams in terms of DVOA, in terms of overall run stopping grades via PFF, all that kind of jazz. All right, we had a question from Chris Penny, or Chris Penny Golf says, pick 2 in a full PPR scoring format. Okay, let's see what you got here. Wide receiver 2 in a flex. We have DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Terry McLaurin, Evans, and Javonte. My team is Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, Kenneth Walker, Garrett Wilson, TJ Hockenson. Pretty solid team. I played Terry McLaurin as your number 2 wide receiver. And at the flex position, I'm going to roll with Brandon Ayuk there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Chris Cross says, in a full PPR, Andrews out, Schultz, Everett, or Okonkwo. Of the available options, in a full PPR, I would play Gerald Everett. Thank you. Jamal Griffin says, in a full PPR, Mike Evans, James Conner, or Cortland Sutton. I'd roll with Mike Williams. Thank you. Xavier Rubin, full PPR. Start 2 in a flex. Okay. We have Allen Lazard. We have Deontay Johnson, Chris Godwin, and Nico Collins. Out of the available options, I'd play Chris Godwin first, Deontay Johnson second, Nico Collins third, and the odd man out would be Allen Lazard this week. Thank you. Johnny Coffey. Appreciate it, Johnny. Johnny says, I guess Ramondre Stevenson is expected to suit up. Yep. With his illness. Yeah. We don't know exactly what his illness is. We don't know if it's, what it exactly kind of pertains. It could just be, upset stomach. It could be, he's got a migraine. We don't know. So, I see you have Miles. I see you have him above Miles Sanders, correct? Should I go ahead and go with that? A chance that Stevenson gets less carries with Zeke. I mean, there's a potential of that. I mean, I think that the likelihood of why they kept him out of Friday's practice was so they didn't get anybody else sick. If in fact that was something that, or maybe just giving him the break and saying, hey, you're good, man. You'll go through the walkthrough on Saturday and we'll be fine. So my assumption is that I'm still going with Ramondre Stevenson. I have him ranked as such because I have the confidence that he'll be utilized heavily, especially in a matchup against a defense where the front 7 and specifically the defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles going up against this offensive line for the Patriots. I know the Patriots recently put Riley Reif on the injured reserve, and Michael Onwenu should be coming back playing offensive guard, but they have a beat up offensive line. I think this is going to be a lot of passing the ball, obviously due to a negative game script, and getting a lot of receiving work from Ramondre. So if I was you, yes, I'd play him. We move on. We have Brandon. Says, in a full PPR, I dropped Allen Lazard for Mingo, Ferguson, or Musgrave rest of season. Rest of season is a little bit different. I'd rather probably have Jake Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys rest of season. I'm perfectly fine dropping Lazard for Mingo. Trying to get ahead of the waivers. Wide receivers are Amon-Ra, Sutton, Ayuk, Addison, Mims, other tight ends. Yeah, I think you're fine. But yeah, I think Ferguson's the guy I'd rather have rest season, because Christian Watson will eventually come back, and the upside of Musgrave will kind of go down as the weeks progress. Pedro's Lucario says, trust Waller or play Likely or Everett. At this point, yeah, you have one of two choices. So for those of you guys who have Waller on roster, let me just go ahead and let me paint a picture really quickly. You have one of two choices. You either have to play someone in the early slate of games, either at, in 2.5 hours from now, you play a tight end from that slate, or in the afternoon slate, even beyond that, a couple hours after, or you have to play and wait until we know for a fact Sunday Night Football, Darren Waller is going to be active. If in fact he's not active, you could have the ability to pick up Jake Ferguson, perhaps Dalton Kincaid and or Tyler Conklin from Monday Night Football in order to swap in if in case Darren Waller is going to miss. So it's just up to what you have available to you. If you don't have, those potential players for Monday night and you don't want to wait for Darren Waller on Sunday night, you could end up just playing an early start, just like you were saying, play Isaiah Likely. That's fine. If you don't have anybody else available, you can roll with that. Pedro, thank you. Mr. Buffalo Bill says, in a full PPR Superflex, add bonuses are 40 yards per rush equals an additional 40 yards of rushing or receiving, or an additional 5 points, 40 reception, touchdown. Okay. I mean, I don't really care for those plus points. Which position would you prioritize? I mean, if this is the case, 40-yard receiving touchdown and runs of running backs are tempo. Okay, so if you're just looking for breakout pointage, really, this is what I'll say, Mr. Buffalo Bill. I cannot predict whether someone is going to score from a 40-yard pass or reception or a rushing touchdown. I could barely predict if they're going to score this weekend, much less score in that fashion. So at this point, I'd say if I'm prioritizing one, big playability, I'd probably lean towards the idea of the running back position, kind of breaking it out there. Thank you. Deeb C says, I need to add / play a kicker. Who do I drop off the bench? We have Hodgins, we have Deion Jackson, we have Elijah Mitchell, we have Antonio Gibson, alongside Lazard, Nico Collins, and Samaje Perine. Out of those players, I would drop Isaiah Hodgins I would drop Isaiah Hodgins for a kicker. Thank you. Appreciate it. Love my Niners says Jahan Dotson ahead of DJ, even if stacked with Fields. Yeah, I don't like the matchup against Jair Alexander. I really do not. That scares me. Now, if you want to play it, by all means, go for it, but I do prefer Jahan Dotson this week. Thank you. Okay, a couple reminders. Again, for those of you who are with us this morning, welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. As of this current moment in time, there's about 1,000 of you in here. If you guys could do me a solid, click the like button. It takes a half a second out of your effort, and it really does go a long way in terms of supporting the channel. So thank you in advance. The rankings that you guys can see on screen currently are updated rankings as of this morning for a half PPR scoring format and 4-point per passing touchdown format. So updated rankings at running back, wide receiver, quarterback, and tight end available on screen for your utilization. Yes, sometimes it differs when we talk about a full PPR or potentially a standard league, but hopefully this kind of gives you guys a representation as to where I would be going into week one and who I'm specifically starting over one another in this format. Hopefully this helps. Obviously, George Kittle, Darren Waller on the bottom right, they both have questionable tags next to them because we're still not 100% certain as to whether or not they're going to be active participants in their games. So we'll have to wait and see. But for now, again, rankings are on screen. Utilize them. I saw someone was asking, I think Tua or Dak. Currently, Tua Tagovailoa on screen, ranked 9, and Dak Prescott ranked 12. So again, the rankings on screen will certainly help in the long run. Thank you. Appreciate it. When am I going over defenses? Yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it now. So let's talk about defenses this week, shall we? So in regards to the defenses that I want to play first and foremost, number one is the Baltimore Ravens. Again, they're going to probably take advantage of that rookie quarterback, C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's offensive line is also in a little bit of shambles. Their starting left guard and their starting center were most recently put on the injured reserve. So there is a potential. I mean, they still have their two offensive tackles, Tunsil, Titus, I think it's Titus. And then they also have Shaq Mason as the right guard. So they just have to figure out what they're going to do with the center left guard position. But again, they're in shambles considering they don't have two of their primary starters. So the Baltimore Ravens, a pretty good play there. Additionally, number two would be the Washington Commanders defense, taking on Arizona. Of course, Josh Dobbs as their quarterback. He's still trying to learn the offense and figure that out. Obviously, was just traded for. Number three, I have the 49ers defense. Number four, I have Philadelphia. Number five, I have Jacksonville. 6, I have the New Orleans Saints. 7, we have the Minnesota Vikings. 8, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody on the same page? We're good to go. I'm not going to explain every defense. You're going to have to figure it out on your own. 9, we have the Buffalo Bills. 10, we have the Broncos. 11, the Falcons. And 12, the Dallas Cowboys. Hopefully that helps. If you need to rehear it, there's a rewind button on the very bottom. You guys can just kind of scroll it back, replay that, and be the go. We'll talk about kickers in a bit, but I'll probably have to once again re-mention defenses and kickers probably like 2 or 3 times as we progress throughout today's live stream. Let me get back to answering questions. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Alrighty. We had a question come in from Alex. Alex says, in a full PPR scoring format, pick one: Cooper, Lockett, DJ Moore, or James Cook. Out of the bunch, I would play Amari Cooper over. Yeah, I play Amari Cooper over Lockett, DJ Moore, and James Cook. Thank you. Matt Glore says, pick 2: Pitts, Khalil Herbert, likely. Happy week 1, bro. Thank you very much. Should be fun this week. Yeah, I'm gonna play. In a full PPR, I play Kyle Pitts and Khalil Herbert. Thank you. Appreciate it. Michael Phillips says, trade away Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp for Javonte, Elijah Mitchell, and OBJ. Wait, you already did that? You traded away JT and Kupp for those 3 bums? Okay. Did I mess up, or was avoiding risk worth the return? You're not getting anything returned, though. That's the issue. You had OBJ, which has had 2 ACL reconstructions in the last 3 years. You got Javonte Williams, who literally just had his ACL and LCL reconstructed. And you have Mr. Fragile, which is Elijah Mitchell. So ultimately, Michael, I'm sorry to say this. You got rinsed. Your commissioner should be persecuted for this and potentially put on trial because you were taken advantage of. That trade should never be allowed to go through. Not in any league ever. So, yeah, continuing on. Achilles the Great says, Kittle or likely? Dak or Anthony Richardson, full PPR. Okay, so considering the assumption is that Kittle will play. If, in fact, he suits up and he is playing, he will start ahead of Isaiah Likely. If, in fact, he's out, then obviously the decision is made for you going into week 1. Additionally, if we're talking about Dak Prescott versus Anthony Richardson, I'd rather just go with a player that I know and can trust, and in that case, it is Dak Prescott over Anthony Richardson. I like the matchup against the Giants. They got 2 starting cornerbacks who are both rookies. I mean, you bring in another weapon like Brandon Cooks, open up the offense. It's going to help. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Mowgli. What an interesting... Mowgli. What am I saying? I saw the picture, and I was like, oh, it's Jungle Book. It is Mowgli. I was like, what the heck is going on here? Mowgli says, in a full PPR, I need one. I either go with Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, or Rachaad White. I'd go with Mike Williams there. Rachaad White will be second. Christian Kirk would be third. Thank you. Joe B. What's up, Joe? Hope you're doing well, man. Joe says, pick 2, full PPR, James Cook, Dalvin Cook, Deion Jackson. Yeah, I'd play the Cook brothers, James and Dalvin this weekend, or on Monday night. So, yeah, those are the 2 that I would suggest. They're both going to play a pretty big role within their offenses, especially considering Breece Hall is going to be limited. Dalvin Cook, based on where I have him ranked on screen right now, he could very easily outproduce the number 27 running back spot. Very easily. He finds the end zone and it's over. The guy's a top 15 running back in the given week because he should see a pretty decent volume of opportunity in that regard. Nathan James says, in a full PPR scoring from Andrew, rate my team. Okay, we're still rating teams here. I mean, it's time. There's nothing really you can do now. It's week 1. The time is upon us. But either way, let's see what you got here. You got Tua, Chubb, Madison, Diggs, Ridley, Laporta, and Devonta Smith as your primary starters, with the Jets defense and Younghoe Koo as your kicker. Bench is Walker, Miles Sanders, Marquise Brown, Nico Collins, Charbonnet, Okonkwo and Gainwell. Pretty strong team. I mean, the starting lineup is as good as it gets. Obviously, I'd love to see a better tight end. You may be able to utilize that bench depth that you have in order to trade for a tight end, but at this point, based on all the tight end injuries, you may even have an opportunity to buy at a cheaper value considering those injuries. Buy low on some of these candidates after week 1. Good looking team though, Nathan. Mickey sends in a question, says Pat Freiermuth or Juwan Johnson. I would play Pat Freiermuth ahead of Juwan Johnson in a full PPR, but in a half PPR standard, I'm rolling with Juwan. Thank you. Where's coming back and not attaching a question for the second day in a row. Where there's no message in the chat, I don't see anything attached to it. So if you can type, that'd be greatly appreciated. Kelsey22 in the chat was asking Nico Collins or Elijah Moore. I prefer Nico Collins this week. Mitch in the chat was saying Williams, Lockett, or Madison. I'd probably play Alexander Madison out of those 3. Let's see here. Brandon Malone. Thank you very much, Brandon. Appreciate it. Brandon says, in a full PPR Superflex, would you drop Jalen Warren or Tank Bigsby to pick up Bateman? My other wide receivers are Waddle, Ridley, Mike Williams, Addison, Burks, PPR Flex, Jahan Dotson, or Rashad White. Okay, so let's answer the flex question, and then we'll talk about the potential upside of dropping one of those guys if it's necessary. As of this moment, I have Rashad White in a full PPR ranked higher than Jahan Dotson. Okay, so let's put that into perspective. I'd go with Rashad White there. He should see himself a lot of utilization within that offense and a negative game script. Hopefully, a lot of peppered targets in his direction. No one's really competing with him in those overall categories. So, Rashad White there. As for dropping Jalen Warren or Tank Bigsby, the reason why you have those 2 on roster is in case of crazy things happening and the potential of them taking over those backfields. So considering you already have Waddle, Ridley, Big Mike, and Addison Burks, I don't think you need Rashad Bateman. You could certainly make a swap for, dropping Bigsby for Bateman. But in my opinion, you're already kind of set at wide receiver. If you want more depth, you can add it to your team. But ultimately, I'd rather have the handcuff / potential lottery tickets in case something is to happen. Appreciate it. Thank you. Harlan in the chat was saying Waller's expected to play still at 4. The expectation that he is going to play, but we don't know 100% until he warms up prior to the game. So he could end up warming up this morning just to kind of test it. But if in fact he's playing, great. He's my number 2. But considering we don't know if he's going to play later tonight, the reason why I've moved Higbee there is because, I feel far more comfortable playing Higbee now than missing out on Darren Waller later. And I'd rather play Kittle now than missing on Darren Waller later. Otherwise, we all know from my rankings earlier this week, Waller should be higher than Higbee and Kittle. But considering the circumstance that we're in, unfortunately, with the uncertainty of his health and whether or not he's going to play, I've kind of adjusted it accordingly just to kind of protect ourselves from the potential of course, kind of him missing out and then having to pivot to Jake Ferguson on a Sunday night, ultimately. All right. Where says Hyatt or Hodgins in a full PPR long term. Long term, it's Jalen Hyatt. Short term, it's Isaiah Hodgins. Thank you. Where is cool. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Terry says, should I start Darren Waller or Evan Ingram? Again, it's dependent on whether or not you can make a pivot. So I want to play Darren Waller, but the only reason I'd feel really comfortable doing so is if you have potential options to pivot to Jake Ferguson on the Sunday night game for the Dallas Cowboys, or potentially pivot to Dalton Kincaid or Tyler Conklin if they're available for the Monday night game. If you don't have pivot availability and there's the uncertainty of whether he's going to play, I guess you could pivot to Daniel Bellinger, but that's not going to turn out great. So yeah, it could be tough. All right, moving on. We had a couple more questions that flew in here. We had Loki Dusty. Loki Dusty says, in a full PPR, I have Andrews out, so likely over Musgrave. Likely or Musgrave. Yes, I would play likely ahead of Luke Musgrave. The Baltimore Ravens should have themselves a pretty good day here. Zay Flowers or Breece Hall in a flex full PPR. I'd play Zay Flowers there in a full PPR. Arda says, standard, Higbee or wait for Waller / Okay, so let's answer that question first and foremost. Play Higbee now or wait for Darren Waller. Again, considering it's going to be up to you. Me personally, I just play Higbee now. I don't want to risk the potential get to Sunday Night Football and he's injured and he's out, and then we're in trouble. So for now, I'm just going to roll with Higbee. As for your follow-up question, Keenan Allen or Devonta Smith, in a standard scoring format, I'd rather play Devonta Smith. He has higher touchdown upside. Keenan Allen only scores about 6 touchdowns a year. Today could be that day, but based on his typical utilization within the offense, I'd just go with Devonta Smith there. Thank you. Appreciate it. We had a question coming from Johnny Coffey again. Thank you very much, Johnny Coffey. He says, half PPR, Christian Kirk or Rachaad White in the flex? I thought we answered this earlier. Did we not? So in a half PPR, Rachaad White sits at 42 and Christian Kirk's at 49. So Rachaad White is the play in a half PPR. Thank you. Appreciate it, Johnny. We had a question from Flight Zone Music. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Irv Smith or Isaiah Likely? I'd play Isaiah Likely. Irv Smith in my current rankings, half PPR, sits as tight end number. He is tight end number 22 on the week. So, yes, I am comfortable playing Isaiah Likely ahead of him. Kareem sends in a question. Kareem says, start 2, Antonio Gibson, Raheem Mostert, Deontay Johnson. Under the assumption we're playing in a half PPR scoring format, even if it's a full PPR actually, I'm playing Mostert and Deontay Johnson over Antonio Gibson. Thank you. Paris Lark, hope you're doing well. Says half PPR. Flex 1, we have Sutton, Mostert, or Jamal Williams. Out of the bunch, I would play Mostert above them all. Thank you. As of today, Devon Achane is inactive. So the number 2 running back for the Miami Dolphins today is Salvin Ahmed. The assumption is that Raheem Mostert should see himself a lot of opportunity in the overall, contest for sure. And I mean, we all, perhaps you guys have forgotten, but I'll say I know for a fact that the run stopping potential of the Los Angeles Chargers has not been great over the last couple of years. The scheme at which, they run and the talent that they have does not, kind of bode well in terms of stopping the run. They can stop the pass, but certainly having their hands full with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, it's only going to open up more lanes, less stacked boxes against Raheem Mostert today. Spencer sends in a question, says, flex Khalil Herbert or DJ Moore. I prefer Khalil Herbert, thank you. Follow up, Sutton or Ayuk. I'll play Sutton there. Judy's going to be probably out. Waller or Higbee. Again, considering if those are your 2 options and you want to avoid the risk of Sunday Night Football, at least I would, and the potential of Waller missing, I'm just going to roll with Higbee. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Best of luck, Spencer. Thanks. Hugo sends in a question, says, in a full PPR, who would I start at the running back position in flex? We have Ramondre, we have Marvin Mims, we have Deion Jackson. In a full PPR scoring format, I'd probably start Ramondre and Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims is just slightly outside of my top 36 wide receivers. With Judy likely out, he should see himself a pretty good utilization as the wide receiver to that offense in a matchup where it should be favorable going up against, the Las Vegas Raiders secondary. On top of it, Russell Wilson, 2 of his best games last year came up against the Las Vegas Raiders. So we're hoping for Russell Wilson to at least have some sort of relevance today to elevate those receiving options within the Denver Broncos offense. And hopefully he's improved based on Sean Payton obviously coming in and changing it up there. Okay. Another reminder. Every ranking that you guys see on screen is updated as of this morning. So if you're wondering within interpositional questions in a half PPR scoring format, 4-point per passing touchdown, we have our top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends. So if you guys are wondering, Andrew, what would you do today? These are the answers. I would start my lineups as such with these players over another, giving you perspective on the matter. Thank you very much. If you guys could do me a solid, there's about 1,100 of you in here this morning. Again, good morning. Welcome to week 1. It's going to be very fun. Hopefully we can avoid all sorts of injuries. I know we've already been hit with the injury bug with all these tight ends dealing with what they are. We have Christian Watson already out. There are some unfortunate natures of week 1, but hopefully we can stay clean and progress throughout the remainder of the week kind of unscathed to an extent. If you guys could do me a favor, click the like button. Certainly does help out the channel a bunch. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Answering more questions. After Hugo, we had Mowgli again with another question. Mowgli says, another question. I need one between Alexander Madison, Jamal Williams, and Amari Cooper. What was your scoring format, Mowgli? Let me see. Let me scroll back up real quick. Mowgli was full PPR. Okay, so let's see here. I'm pretty sure I'm playing Madison out of the bunch, but let me confirm what my flex rankings have for today. Alexander Madison, actually, I have Amari Cooper at 26 and Alexander Madison at 28 and at full PPR. So we'll play Amari Cooper there. Thank you. Moving on, we had Angel Garcia. Thank you very much, Angel. Says, should I even play Mike Evans? You can. Yeah, why not? Look, in comparison to the other receiving options that are available, the issue that I have with Mike Evans is that he is highly reliant on touchdown upside, just like a tight end, right? So, like, if in fact he doesn't score a touchdown, he probably scores himself like 7 points in a half PPR scoring format, maybe 10 points in a full PPR. Outside of that, I mean, really, we're not gonna be in a great position. So touchdown upside is very vital to his overall success. We had a question from Blake Dean. Is Bateman going to finally break out? I mean, I would assume that if there was ever an opportunity for him to do so, today was going to be a good one, considering there is no Mark Andrews within the lineup. As to whether or not he's able to actually reach that potential, it's going to be up to Lamar unlocking his upside. That's purely what it is. A wide receiver could do all that he could potentially can. Like, let's talk about Garrett Wilson and Zach Wilson last year. Garrett Wilson was not the same receiver with Zach Wilson than he was with Joe Flacco. You just need to improve the quarterback position a little bit more. So if Lamar Jackson takes steps forward in the passing game and he can unlock Bateman in that regard, then great. He can take that step forward. Otherwise, Bateman will be Bateman. But unfortunately, last year, we didn't really see much of him anyway, right? He was injured for a lot of the season. Immediately went to the injured reserve. So hopefully he could just stay healthy and give himself more opportunities. Let's see here. iShine101 says, what 3 should I play? 12-man, PPR, Godwin, Miles Sanders, Keenan Allen, Calvin Ridley. Of those available in a full PPR, I'm probably playing all 3 receivers, Keenan Allen, Ridley, and Godwin. Thank you. Respect the Reef says, full PPR, Jerry Jeudy out, Amari Cooper or Sutton. I'd play Amari Cooper still. Thank you. Trey Curb 47 says, good morning. From St. Louis, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Van Jefferson or Jordan Addison? I'd take Van Jefferson there. Thank you. Flight Zone Music says, DJ Moore, JSN, Jaden Reed, Gainwell, Ahmed, Curtis Samuel. I need 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. Out of the group of players that you mentioned, I would probably play, I'm fairly certain, let me check this again. We're going with, let's pull this up. Where art thou? Where's my wide receiver ranks? Because pretty much that's just a wide receiver question at this point. Okay, so who did you have available again? We had DJ Moore. He's going to start. And then it's between Jaden Reed and JSN. Between the two, I have Jaden Reed ahead of JSN. So I go Jaden Reed and DJ Moore. Thank you. Hugo says full PPR. What 3 wides am I starting? Marvin Mims, Zay Flowers, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, you're starting Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. And I would probably play Marvin Mims over Zay Flowers. Thank you. Considering the absence of Jerry Jeudy today. Thank you. Where was that question I saw? So Borland in the chat was saying, Sean Payton said Javonte Williams will play a quote-unquote big role against the Raiders. Why do you still have him ranked low, bro? Mainly because I don't trust Sean Payton. Like, he can say anything he wants, but we all know they're going to limit him, right? A big role doesn't mean he's going to get himself 20 touches, right? So we have to think about it this way. Like, there's so much coach speak and there's so much different like lingo that coaches want to utilize. And even though they can say one thing, they don't totally have to abide by that overall statement. So they can come out and say, oh, he's going to play a big role in the 6 plays that he plays today, right? Like, it's different. So we already know for a fact he's going to be limited. There's going to be a pitch count. There's no way he's coming off of an ACL based on when that ACL injury was taking place and he's back to full workload. By all means, if he's able to do that, he'd be the first guy since Adrian Peterson back in 2013 to be able to recover that quickly and that efficiency from an ACL injury. Again, they're few and far between that have ever been able to do that, especially in the National Football League, because the wide majority of running backs that tear their ACL, they go poof and they're gone. But Javonte at this point, like I can't trust the coach speak at this moment. Like it's too risky, especially going into my week 1. If you don't have a better option and you're sitting there and you're like, it's between him and Deion Jackson, great, let's play Javonte, let's roll with it. But ultimately, I just don't trust it. They have Samaje Perine. They've activated guys like Jaleel McLaughlin. Like they wouldn't stack up the backfield if they were only going to use Javonte. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight as to where I'm kind of positioning myself, as to where I think it's kind of going to pan out. We'll see. we'll wait and see. Thank you. Appreciate it. We move on. So we took care of Kareem's question so we took care of that. Okay, Kareem said, or actually, did we take care of Kareem's question? No, we didn't. It's okay. So Trey Cup 47 between the players that you mentioned, Flowers, Van Jefferson, Addison. I'd play Flowers out of the bunch. Follow up. Kareem's question was, who do I start at the tight end position in a full PPR? Everett, Okonkwo, or Juwan Johnson? I have Everett a little bit higher, but he's still behind Juwan Johnson in a full PPR. So we'd go Juwan, Everett, Okonkwo in that order. As for, let me actually make sure that that's the case. Let's see here. Tight end. I have Juwan Johnson there. Everett after him. Okonkwo, couple spots after that. Yep. So that's the direction I'd go with there. Bale Kim, hope you're doing well. Says in a full PPR, running backs are Pollard, Dobbins, fantastic. Wide receivers are Diggs, Olave, fantastic. Who do I flex? Kenneth Walker or Chris Godwin. Love the content. Pumped up for today. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting day for week 1, isn't it? Let's see. You have Kenneth Walker and you have Chris Godwin. So let's see where Godwin lies. Okay, so in a full PPR scoring format, no bluff. Kenneth Walker 33, Chris Godwin 34 on my flex rankings. So they're back-to-back. I'll take Kenneth Walker there. Literally back-to-back. Absolutely ridiculous, but it is what it is. So really, you could flip a coin and be like, hey, I prefer Godwin. They're back-to-back in the rankings. So like if you prefer one over the other, but at this moment, I'd go with Kenneth. Higher volume of touches. Let's see. Moving on. We had a question from James Shaw. Says, need 3 wide receivers in a half PPR. We have Pickens, Sutton, Pittman, and Tyler Boyd. Yeah, I'm benching Tyler Boyd. I'm starting the other 3 very confidently. Pittman, Sutton, Pickens. Thank you. Born Ready Corey says, Romeo Dobbs, ? Is Watson out? Yes, he is. Dobbs or Mooney? Yes, you play Romeo Dobbs over Mooney today. Full confidence. Dobbs is just slightly outside of my top 36 and a half PPR. In fact, he's number 38. So he almost made the list, but for now, I got to wait and see what we have from Jordan Love before I start starting guys like Romeo Dobbs. Like we know that Christian Watson has super potential upside considering, the kind of receiver he is. Romeo Dobbs is going to get himself a pretty good volume of targets. He should be a great play. As to whether he finds the end zone, that'll certainly make the difference as to whether or not he can get into that wide receiver 3 conversation ultimately. But for now, it's going to be a run first attack from that offense, probably for majority of the day. Alrighty, let's see here. We had Cinco2X say full PPR, flex 1, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton, Khalil Herbert. Out of the bunch, it's between Sutton and Herbert. I don't really trust Mike Evans much this week. Sutton is going to benefit from the fact that he takes on the Las Vegas Raiders. Herbert takes on an incredible matchup. Let's see here. I have Cortland Sutton ahead of Khalil Herbert, full PPR. That's what we'll roll with. Cortland Sutton on the week. Luckily for him, the guy scored 15 plus points in each of the last 2 games he played against the Las Vegas Raiders last season. So as the number 1 target of the offense today, should be great. Let's see here. Full PPR, Akers or Sutton? Someone asked that in the chat. Let me see. While we're on the subject of Cortland Sutton, do I have Akers ahead of him? I do. I have Akers 4 spots ahead of Sutton today. Thank you. Full PPR, Dotson or Sutton? I would go with Sutton there as well. Thank you. All right, cool. Glad we're on the right track there. Matt Wright says Darren Waller or Dalton Schultz. Matt, in that situation, I would probably try to wait for Darren Waller. If he doesn't end up playing, you would then pivot to Jake Ferguson or Tyler Conklin. Either in the night game, obviously Cowboys versus Giants, Jake Ferguson plays for the Cowboys, or you'd play Conklin on Monday night against the Buffalo Bills. Or otherwise, perhaps if those are not available, you could pivot to Dawson Knox playing against the Jets Monday night. So there are available options, but I would like to, based on the separation of value that I have in my mind between Darren Waller and Schultz, play Darren Waller, or at least risk it to play him. Thank you. All right, so Ramblin' Man sent in something, but Ramblin' Man's question was not attached. We found it, no problem. Ramblin' Man says, in a half PPR, if I'm starting 2, we have Swift, Hall, Pickens. Thanks, man. Okay, so in a half PPR, I think I got to look this up. Let me go look at my rankings right now. I'm pretty sure I have both running backs ahead, but I could be wrong. I am, in fact, wrong. I'm playing DeAndre Swift, and I'm playing George Pickens there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Michael sent in a question. Where's Michael at? Michael, where are you at, my man? Michael says full PPR. Okay, so full PPR. Wait, okay, interesting. Full PPR, Anthony Richardson versus Brandon Ayuk. I would, in fact, play Anthony Richardson. The only reason I wouldn't is maybe if, in fact, Kittle misses, I could justify perhaps playing Brandon Ayuk. But for now, considering I expect Kittle to play, I play Richardson there in your super flex. Thank you. We follow up with Jaden Thornton. Says, what's up, Andrew? I'm doing well. Hope you guys are as well. Good morning. Welcome. We've been here for an hour. We got 2 more hours ahead of us before the kickoff of week 1. Again, hopefully you guys are excited as myself. For those of you who are just joining us, rankings that are currently on screen are updated as of this morning. Half PPR scoring format, 4-point per passing touchdown. Hopefully they give you a little bit of insight. While that's the case, I will be also answering questions. So whether I directly answer yours or perhaps hopefully answer your question via proxy of answering someone else's, hopefully we're set and ready to go for week 1. But again, we still have another 2 hours. So hopefully I'll be able to get to every potential possible question in the universe. Victor in the chat was asking J.K. Dobbins or Sutton. I'd play Dobbins there. Thank you. So Jaden Thornton says, drop Warren and pick up Van Jefferson, ? I would keep Warren. I don't think Van Jefferson is going to provide enough value for fantasy purposes to be a weekly startable option unless you're playing in like a 14 to 16 team league. So at this point, I'm going to lean with keeping Warren, keeping the handcuff that has the upside associated with him. Okay, moving on. We have Kush, who asked the question, hey, Andrew, pick 2 for me. James Conner, Raheem Mostert, Mike Williams, half PPR. My opponent is starting Tua. Okay, so out of those 3 options, let's see here. Half PPR. Where is Mike Williams? Actually, let me find Conner because I think Conner might be the lowest ranked player out of those 3. Just want to confirm that's the case. Raheem Mostert's there. Mike Williams there. Yep. So we are sitting James Conner. We're starting Raheem Mostert and Mike Williams. Thank you. Appreciate it. Zarif C says, happy week 1. Yes, it's going to be, man, I just want people to score as many points as possible. I want the highest scoring season in fantasy football history. That's really, truly what I'm asking for. So in order for that to be established, quarterbacks have to step up this season. Like last year, I think it was a record for the most quarterbacks that have ever started in a single season. It was like 66 or 68. We need healthy quarterbacks, and then additionally, we need them to play well. So anyway, besides that point, Zarif says in a full PPR, do I start Dobbins over McLaurin and Keenan Allen over Madison? Wow, that's a great question. I think I actually do. Okay. Let's see here. I think Dobbins is going to play over McLaurin. Off the top of my head, let's see here. Dobbins. Where is McLaurin? Yes, Dobbins over McLaurin, but I have Keenan Allen over Alexander Madison in a full PPR. What else did you have? Also, I'd assume you're fine starting Madison if Mondre ends up out. Mondre's not going to end up out, but if you do feel comfortable playing Madison ahead of him, be my guest. I think that's perfectly fine. I think they're very similar players in their overall tier, so I wouldn't think that there's much of a drop-off in terms of what you're going to get fantasy purposes as of today. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, I have Mondre there because of my assumption he's going to play and he's going to be highly active. Parker A says Mondre with his sickness or T. Higgins. Like I was just mentioning, it's interesting how you guys are pretty much at the same train of thought. I would play Mondre there if you're worried. Again, T. Higgins is a great option, and it's not too much of a downgrade. I just feel like the utilization that Ramondre will probably see in the receiving game and on the ground today is going to be significant enough to where I want to start him. And I feel confident doing so. Thank you. Let's see here. We follow up with, after Parker, we had Hood. Hood says, full PPR, pick one for the flex. We have Garrett Wilson or Brian Robinson. 1,000% Garrett Wilson. Follow-up question. We're picking on Arizona all year. Yes, we absolutely are. That's not even a question. That's a statement. Yes. Buffalo allowed the fewest points to opposing quarterbacks. No, they absolutely did. That being said, Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers, it's different. Like they can certainly allow the fewest fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks, but I mean, opposing wide receivers, Garrett Wilson's going to get some damage done. He did it last year against this defense. He'll do it even at a heightened level due to the Aaron Rodgers overall existence within that offense now. Cody in the chat was asking DeAndre Swift or Dalvin Cook. Cody, do want to kind of point you in the right direction. On screen, as of right now, we have updated rankings. I currently have DeAndre Swift at number 29 and Dalvin Cook at 27. So for a half PPR scoring format, I would suggest going with Dalvin Cook. Hopefully that helps you out. Let me see here. We have to make sure any new reports. What does it say? Okay, we're good to go. No problem. Just want to make sure we're ahead of anything. If any breaking news kind of drops, I'll have it on my phone, so no one will have to really warn me of anything. I have all the notifications on, so we should be good to go. Moving on, after Hood's question, we go to Cinco. He says, missed this part. Full PPR, Rachaad White or Dalvin Cook? I would play Rachaad White over Dalvin Cook full PPR this week. Thank you. Appreciate it. We move on to Ramblin' Man. He says, should I trade Devonta Smith for Ridley? I have Trevor Lawrence. I would. I think Ridley is going to be a better fantasy option than Devonta Smith this year. So Vicia Soak, man, what's up? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. So Vicia says, full PPR, one running back, one flex, Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Mostert, Burks. I'm playing Brian Robinson. I'm playing Raheem Mostert. And I think they're both going to pretty much pan out this week. Best of luck, Sovicia. Thank you. All right. Jamari Sanders says, Deontay Johnson, Mostert, Hopkins, pick two in a full PPR. I play Mostert and I play DeAndre Hopkins there. Thank you. Key Lloyd says, and I quote, keloids are like, I guess medically, they're like dead pockets of skin almost. But this is two different words. Key Lloyd. Anyway, Najee Harris or Cam Akers is my RB. So between the two of them, I am playing Cam Akers. I would play him over Najee Harris this week. Follow-up question. You have Brian Robinson on your bench, so should you play him as your RB2 in comparison? I'd probably just roll with the stud Najee Harris. I don't love the matchup, but I also don't want to be the clown that has the red nose paint on after I left, Najee Harris on my bench after he breaks out a 2-touchdown game on 12 carries and 42 yards, right? Like, I don't want to be that guy. So for now, I will roll with Najee Harris and Cam Akers. I will bench Brian Robinson in that regard. Your follow-up question to that, Keloid, is how bad of shape am I in? Do I look at trading for running backs as well? Okay, and you have Chase, Watson, Godwin. I don't think you're in a bad spot. I mean, I think you'll be fine. You just got to let week one go, and let's see what happens. I don't think you're in a bad spot. JJ's Watch Hangout says, Mooney, Jacoby Myers, Gainwell, or Warren, PPR flex. If I'm playing one of them in a PPR scoring format in the flex, it's Jacoby Myers. Thank you. All right, moving on. We had John S. John, where are you at? John S. Full PPR, are you still starting likely over Jawan Johnson? Yes, I would. Is that your only question, John? Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Aaron Rodgers or Anthony Richardson, says Tony V in the chat. Tony, my suggestion. It would be Anthony Richardson, considering I have him at 14 and Aaron Rodgers at 16. Again, the rankings that are on screen, besides the fact that they're updated as of this morning, they also exclude anybody who's already played this week. So I don't have any Chiefs and or Detroit Lions, because why would I need to rank them for Sunday, right? Like, I'm trying to give you guys as many players as possible. So that is the current suggestion. Why is Connor ranked so low? In a half PPR, the assumption is that, again, he's going to get himself receiving work, but that'll probably be the predominant workload that he gets. Rushing is going to be very difficult for him today, considering they take on Washington, and Washington really is just going to kind of sit back and try to let Joshua Dobbs beat them with his arm. So stack the box, disrupt James Conner in the running game, and force them to pass and make mistakes all day. I mean, that's just the easiest way to go about it. So that's my assumption, and that's why I kind of have him lower ranked. I think it's not going to be a fun trip for the Arizona Cardinals today. Logger, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Says, good morning. Flex Dylan, Warren, or Charbonnet? I would flex AJ Dillon. Thank you. Appreciate it. iShine 101, that's very generous. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. Obviously, a frequent member of this chat. Says, I chose to start Gibbs as my RB2, Stevenson as my RB1. I left David Montgomery on my bench. Kind of need upside. I need to pick one for a potential flex option this week. Mostert, Dotson, Sutton, and Herbert. I have Chase as my wide receiver 1 and Waddle as my wide receiver 2, PPR. Out of the available options, it's pretty much between Mostert and Sutton, and I'm fairly certain I'm going with Mostert. Let me check here. Mostert, full PPR. Where art thou? In a full PPR, actually, interestingly, yeah, no, I do. Maybe if let's see here. Where do I? Okay, so if he goes here and then he subsequently moves up, he doesn't even go up that much. Yeah, out of the bunch, it's between Sutton and Mostert. Sutton's my suggestion in the full PPR. Thank you. Tres Cero Cinco says, my boy, week 1. I need your advice. Okay, number 1, full PPR. We have Elijah Moore or Rashad Bateman. Between those two, I play Rashad Bateman. Follow up, question 2, flex spot, half PPR. Pick 2, Lockett, Deontay Johnson, Rashad White. Out of those 3 options, I'd play Lockett and Rashad White. Thank you very much, Mr. Tres Cero Cinco. Let's see here. We had other questions. Where was that one in the chat that I saw? Phil, hope you're doing well. Says, can you give me a rundown on how you view Tua this season? The injuries scare me overall. I mean, if he stays healthy, the guy last year in the 10 healthy games he played, in which he didn't have an injury sustained, he was averaging 297 passing yards per game and about 1.9 passing touchdowns per game. You expand that upon a full 17-game season, he's putting in a lot of work. Not because he's like, one of the greatest quarterbacks, but primarily because, quite frankly, the receivers will elevate him within this offense because that's how it's constructed. Again, you got to remember the head coach of the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, former, colleague / underling of Kyle Shanahan. They have learned how to build offenses that can accelerate the quarterback's production based on what the receivers around them are capable of doing after the catch. And that's why Tua is so, such a good fantasy option because he doesn't do much. He throws it for 5 yards, and Waddle and Tyreek Hill are going for 70, All right. Moving on, we had Mike Chills says, I had Andrews, Isaiah Likely or Everett. I go with Isaiah Likely. Thank you. Tadpole says, I wish everyone had a plethora of fantasy points. I wish everyone to have a plethora of fantasy points. Thank you very much. We're hoping the same thing. We're hoping we can all catch a W in week 1, start out the season on fire. In my 14-team league, says Tadpole, should I flex Dillon or Johnson? In a full PPR, I would start Deontay Johnson. That's my suggestion. Thank you. Appreciate it. True gentleman for you. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Musgrave or Likely, or think Waller will play. I think Waller's going to play. So if you have the ability to potentially pivot to Conklin, Ferguson in a Sunday or Monday game in case of Waller's absence, then let's go with that. Let's take the risk. Thank you. C. Beasy says, full PPR Dobbins or Sanders. I play Dobbins there. Flex Swift or Jordan Addison. If I'm playing between one of those two, it'd be Swift over Addison. So Dobbins and Swift. Thank you. If Sanders is in that same conversation, I'd obviously want to play Dobbins and Sanders, but if he's not, Dobbins and Swift. Thank you. Alex Sondgrass, thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Says standard league, start 2. All right, let's see here. What do you have available to you? All right, Alex has, and I quote, Walker, Sanders, Mostert. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I am. Thank you very much. I had to wake up a little bit early today. A nice little 6 a.m. start for Andrew after sleeping at 3. But hey, anything for football, really, anything for fantasy football. It's time, man. We've been waiting so long for this week to come. We just got to hope that all of our, prognostications, all of our projections come out to be what we're expecting. Otherwise, it's going to be a long season. But, that's fantasy football. As much as we want to predict the future, man, is it so difficult to predict. Let's see here. So if we're starting to add a Walker, Sanders, and Mostert this week, as much as I like Mostert, you know what? You're playing in a standard format. Considering I really like Sanders because of his receiving upside, I'd probably go Mostert and Walker there. Thank you. Appreciate it, Alex. Alrighty. We had a question coming from Achilles the Great. He said, who would you put in the double flex full PPR? Banged up Kittle, Likely, or Brandon Cooks? If I'm starting 2 of those 3 options, I'm playing Kittle and Brandon Cooks. Thank you. If Kittle doesn't play, obviously you play Likely and the decision's made for you. What do we have here? Quarterback Dak Prescott. Wide receiver 1 is Lamb. Thank you very much. So basically, you're worried about starting too many Cowboys. I could see the logic there, but hopefully the idea of going up against 2 rookie cornerbacks, both Lamb and Cook, should have themselves great days today, Achilles. Thank you. Enemies within says full PPR. Addison, Elijah Moore, Mingo, Hyatt, or Mims. Mims is the highest ranked amongst all. Thank you. Dilo, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Dilo, I will never forget the Rex Burkhead travesty that took place all those years ago. So you don't have to remind me. I know you didn't, but I know, like, as soon as I see your name every time, it reminds me of the travesty that was Rex Burkhead a couple years ago. What was that, week 17? God, I mean, what a shambles that was. Um, so in regards to your question, full PPR, D-Hop or Christian Kirk, and or James Cook and Deontay Johnson. I'd play James Cook over Deontay Johnson, and I like DeAndre Hopkins today over Christian Kirk. Thank you. Anzar Malik says, Sean Payton says Jamal Williams will have big role week 1. Yeah, again, a big role, quote unquote, doesn't guarantee or hold Sean Payton to giving Javonte Williams the ball 25 times today, unfortunately. If you guys feel comfortable rolling with what Sean Payton had to say, be my guest. I personally am just going to kind of let those comments kind of flow off my back, and I'm going to lead with the assumption that regardless of having a big role, Javonte Williams will likely be on a pitch count still have a snap count that is limited because he is still returning from a very devastating knee injury, and getting him back to full workload, full reps, is not a walk in the park, especially at the running back position coming off of the knee injury that he sustained, LCL, ACL, other structural damage that was sustained. So if you want to roll with it, you more than welcome to. For now, I'm just going to be very cautious with that overall scenario. Nicholas DeStefano says, is Ramondre Stevenson playing? My assumption is that is going to be the case. Until we get any other word on that, I think we'll be fine. So yeah, I'm fairly certain he will be playing. Let's see here. Andrew Clark was saying, I've been waiting all week for this time. It's like Christmas morning. If this is Christmas morning, I mean, yeah, I can compare that. That makes sense. I'll take that. Will Patel, hope you're doing well. What's up, man? Happy Sunday. Let's see here. Would you play Jamal Williams over Miles Sanders, says Astral Zay? If you think Jamal Williams is going to find the end zone, then you should. If you are like me and you're concerned about the matchup, and Taysom Hill looming for, his upside, I'm very conservative with my current Jamal Williams ranking. There is no Kendre Miller, there is no Alvin Kamara, so there should be a nice volume of touches, whether it's on the ground or through the air, for Jamal Williams. That being said, it is still a very difficult matchup. Not a lot of players have found any sort of success or any sort of relevance going up against Tennessee last season. Their front seven is healthy, fully ready to go, and in terms of continuity, in terms of personnel, they're all there. Appreciate it. We had a question coming from Elliot Tom. Thank you very much, Elliot. I appreciate it. It says, hey, Andrew, happy kickoff to the Sunday for week 1. 2 questions. Half PPR, pick 2, Sanders, Javonte Williams, Dotson, Lockett. I play Sanders and Lockett there. Follow up. Also, what are your thoughts on Calvin Ridley? I hope he pops off, and he's a wide receiver 1 rest season. And again, this offseason, I had Calvin Ridley ranked as my number 12 wide receiver the entirety of the month. Didn't really change at all because the understanding of how much utilization he's going to get, the step forward that Trevor Lawrence is going to take this year, considering he's getting a wide receiver of Calvin Ridley's caliber, starting off week 1 against a secondary that is as bad as the Indianapolis Colts, should start off and continue on for a wide receiver 1 campaign in 2023. Phil says, thoughts on Tua overall? Injuries worry me. Yeah, Phil, I thought we addressed that. Like I swear I addressed that for like 5 minutes there. Tua last year averaged 297 when not injured through the air and 1.9 passing touchdowns per game. Expand that upon 17 games. He's a stud. So I understand injuries may worry you, but truly I think he'll be fine. I mean, I'm just not going to be, in the case of Tua, especially a quarterback, right? If they protect him correctly and he protects himself correctly and he doesn't take those hits, he just falls, I think he'll be fine. Will Patel says, also, are the rankings on screen full PPR? No, they are not. The rankings on screen are for a half PPR. Again, meeting everyone in the middle, like I try to do as much as possible. I want to make sure that everyone can at least have some sort of accessibility to this. So half PPR, rankings as of this morning, top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends. Hopefully this helps, gives you a little bit of an indication as to where I'm going with my overall rankings and placements, all that kind of jazz. For those of you guys who have already signed up using Underdog Fantasy, again, like I've mentioned, all pretty much off season since August 1st. If you guys went ahead and used code Andrew and made that first time deposit, a minimum of $10, you will already have an email in your spam folder in your email that's associated with your Underdog account with my rankings in it. So if you guys have already done so, great, go for that. For those of you who want to have rankings from me sent to you, which is by position, by tier, half PPR, full PPR, and flex rankings every single Sunday morning, be sure to go ahead and take advantage of that. You won't get today's rankings because I'll be live streaming for the next 2 hours and not be sending out, emails. So you can always take advantage of it from weeks 2 through 18. You just have to go ahead, travel down to the description of the video, check out Underdog Fantasy. Again, use code Andrew and make that first time deposit. And of course, play the Pick'ems game. I know that they have a couple great options available today, so you can, cash in on some great upside there. Additionally, that should be that. Let's go ahead. Where are we at here? So we took care of that. Malik Khan. Let's see where Malik's question went. Malik, where art thou? Malik Khan says, and I quote, I lost this question already. There it is. In a 12-team half PPR league, should I trade Trevor Lawrence and Cooper Kupp for Geno Smith, Deontay Johnson, and Raheem Mostert? No. I'd keep what you have. Unless you're in a league where you're like, hey, only 6 teams make the playoffs, Andrew. Without Cooper Kupp, I'm going to be 0-4. If you're in a really bad spot like that, I feel like you could find a better trade. I think trading for Raheem Mostert, Deontay Johnson, Geno just doesn't do enough service for what you're giving away, Cooper Kupp and Trevor Lawrence. So I'd keep what you have. I don't know what the rest of your team looks like, but that's how I'm feeling. Speaking of, okay, Pineda in the chat was saying, how do you feel about Tyler Conklin this year? He's purely going to be limited to what this offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, and Aaron Rodgers want to do. We have seen in the past, if you go back to 2020, Robert Tonyan within the Green Bay Packers offense, when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, when Nathaniel Hackett was the offensive coordinator, he was huge in the red zone, had himself over 10 receiving touchdowns. We could see Tyler Conklin have a season of that extent, but we don't know how much utilization the tight end position is going to have within that offense. Whether, CJ Uzomah is going to get himself work. It's tough to predict from this, this current position until we get more of an understanding. It'll be tough. So at this point, he's probably like a tight end too that could have upside, but in specific matchups. Jerry Reinhart says, full PPR, pick 2, Bateman, Reed, and K. Williams. Who's K. Williams? Is that Kyron Williams? I don't know what other K. Williams there is in the league. Let's see here. Kawan Williams. I mean, that guy plays secondary in the league. Who else is K. Williams? So yeah, as of right now, assuming that's Kieran Williams, like of the Rams, I would suggest playing Jaden Reed and Rashad Bateman today. Thank you. Ando was saying in the chat, half PPR, Mingo or Marvin Mims. I'd play Marvin Mims today. Thank you. All right, moving on. We had a question that came in from Daniel Cap. He says, thanks for David Montgomery start on Thursday night. Yeah, I mean, listen, I told just about everybody to start Daniel Montgomery on Thursday. Like, we knew he was going to be Jamal Williams of this offense, and he did not disappoint, and he even found the end zone. I mean, that little... he snapped that safety's ankles. We'll just put it at that. But we got lucky though. If Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't trip, Jahmyr Gibbs finds the end zone on that drive. So be very wary. Anyway, moving on. In regards to your question, Cooks or Michael Thomas? Again, like you guys can see on screen, we have updated rankings as of this morning. So between Brandon Cooks, Michael Thomas, I do prefer Brandon Cooks in that regard. As for the follow-up, Gibson or Swift full PPR, I would still play Swift there. I like Gibson's receiving upside. I just don't know how much of that is going to be incorporated within the game plan based on the fact that they should be leading for majority of the contest. So I'd go with Swift there and the upside that is potentially aligned with him going up against the Patriots defense. So Cooks, Swift, good to go. Thank you. Coco says, full PPR, pick 1, Dobbins, Khalil Herbert, or Ayuk. I'm playing J.K. Dobbins there. Thank you. Alex sends in a question, says Terry McLaurin or Dameon Pierce in a half PPR. Let's go check my half PPR ranking, shall we? Pierce is 48. McLaurin sits at, is that half PPR? Yeah. Dameon Pierce 48. Terry McLaurin 40. I'll take Scary Terry today. Thank you. Someone in the chat was asking, should I start Van Jefferson or Juju Smith-Schuster? I'd go with Juju there. Thank you. Again, Juju's my number 36 on screen. Van Jefferson is my 41 off screen. I know you don't see Van Jefferson there, but the assumption would be that if he's not on screen, of course, we're going with the guys that are ready to go. KB1464 or 62 in the chat was saying Michael Pittman Jr., Swift, or JSN in the flex. In a full PPR, I probably lean towards just playing Michael Pittman there. Yeah. That's kind of the direction that I would at least go with my team. Let's see. We had a question that rolled in from Babaris. Babaris, where is your question? Babaris says, pick 2. James Cook, Brian Robinson Jr., or Drake London. I'm playing James Cook and Brian Robinson. I'll take both running backs. Should have great workloads this week. Thank you. Appreciate it. Pierce, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I mean, we're hoping that's the case. We're hoping. Thank you, Pierce. Appreciate that. Let's see here. We had Haruto in the chat was saying standard league, non-PPR. Should I start Higbee or Kittle? At this point, considering it's a standard format, do we rather play like 80% of Kittle with the groin injury or play Higbee full set? I think I think I'm actually going to play Kittle there in a standard format. Any other format, I don't. But because of what Kittle has done with Purdy in the red zone, just gives me a slight nudge in that direction for a standard format. Any other format, I wouldn't do it. Let's see here. Jerry in the chat was saying, am I spreading myself too thin with Herbert, Eckler, and Everett? No, I don't think so. I mean, look, the assumption of that game is that the Chargers and the Dolphins should be scoring a lot of points. And it should be a very high-scoring matchup, probably the highest-scoring matchup in the given week, unless something else is to come out of nowhere and surprise us. So I don't think you're spreading yourself too thin. You may have a lot of eggs in one basket, but it's a good basket to have them in. At least you're not like starting 3 players. At least you're not starting like Desmond Ridder, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson, to where your 3 players are on one team. And typically, you're not going to find a lot of success from a singular offense like the Falcons in comparison to someone like the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, what does this say? Okay, no problem. That's not a real report. That's just some BS. Moving on. We have questions in the chat. I did see one that I wanted to answer before. There we go. Half PPR, Charbonnet or JSN? I'd probably roll with JSN there. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking. Bilbo Baggins in the chat says, hey, Andrew, cheers to the start of another season. Thank you. Appreciate it. It says, would you, in a 6-point per passing touchdown league, would this change anything between Anthony Richardson and Carr? Yes, I would play Carr over Anthony Richardson. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Like guys like Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, they moved down in my rankings quite a bit because of the format change of getting the 2 additional points from the passing touchdown upside there. Crypto in the chat was asking Javonte Williams or Mike Williams. I'll take Mike Williams there. We're good to go. Thank you very much. We had a question roll in from Mike Whelan. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate that. It says full PPR, Pirine or Gibson. Yeah, I'll take Samaje Pirine there in a full PPR. Again, my assumption is that there's going to be a limitation to Javonte Williams' quote-unquote big role. If they let Javonte Williams run the ball 20 times, I'm happy being wrong on that. Because quite frankly, everything that I've seen, the way that they've limited his usage over the course of this offseason leads me to believe that they're going to probably have him on a pitch count. There's a reason why they said it in the beginning of the week that they were going to probably have him on a pitch count. I know he's saying big role now, but again, it's coach speak. We can't trust everything these coaches say, especially when, a lot of these coaches want to be in a position to where they have some sort of game plan secrecy or game plan integrity, like stuff to where they at least can cover their own ass before they go into a game. They don't want to give up all their secrets. Brian M says full PPR, Pittman, Ayuk, or Pierce. I probably end up playing Ayuk there. Let me confirm this. Cross-reference with my ranking. Pierce, I have at 60. Ayuk, I have at 52. Yeah, Ayuk's the play there. Thank you. Moving on, we had Josh Reacts. What's up, Josh? Hope you're doing well. Says in a half PPR, do I flex Mostert, Dotson, London, or... Yeah, that's it. Okay. Out of those 3 options in a half PPR, I would be playing Mostert. In the chat, I just saw Kyle say kicker and defensive rankings. We'll get to that in just a moment. Trinity Vincent says full PPR. Gabe Davis, Treylon Burks, Marvin Mims, Jaden Reed. If I'm picking one, it's Marvin Mims. Thank you. I know Jonas also in the chat. Jonas B said defensive rankings. Yes, let's do that right now. Okay. So let's do defense, and then we'll do kicker rankings. Okay, we're at 8:27 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are an hour and a half away from week 1 of the 2023 fantasy football season fully getting underway. I know we had a little taste of what we could potentially expect this season from Thursday Night Football. Kind of an underwhelming game in terms of what we expected in terms of a higher scoring kind of contest, but what we got, we'll take. So, defensive rankings going into the week. Number 1, Baltimore Ravens. Number 2, Washington Commanders. Number 3, San Francisco 49ers. Number 4, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 5, Jacksonville Jaguars. 6, we have the New Orleans Saints. 7, Minnesota Vikings. 8, Pittsburgh Steelers. 9, Buffalo Bills. 10, we have the Denver Broncos. 11, we have the Atlanta Falcons. And 12, the one and only Dallas Cowboys. Those are my top 12 defenses. Hopefully you guys, if in fact you're looking for, defenses that are like spot starts on the given week, if you're just playing matchup, Washington would be number 1. Jacksonville would be number 2. I think Minnesota is probably 3 because they're probably not highly rostered in your league format. And then Atlanta would be number 4. So those are like the 4 potential ones that may not have a lot of high rostership percentage. The reason why Atlanta is there at number 11 is because Frank Reich, in his career, week 1 as a head coach of any football team, I think going back to when he began in 2018 with the Indianapolis Colts, I don't think he's won a single game on week 1 in his career as a head coach. We're probably expecting that to continue. Just putting it out there. Moving on. Kicker rankings. Number 1, we have Justin Tucker. Number 2, Jason Myers. Number 3, Evan McPherson. Number 4 is Younghoe Koo. Number 5, we have Cameron Dicker. Number 6 is Daniel Carlson. Number 7, Brandon McManus. 8, we have Tyler Bass. Number 9 is Greg Joseph. Number 10 is Jason Sanders. Number 11 is Graham Gano. And number 12, Joey Sly. Thank you very much. Mark Andrews is officially out per week 1 via Adam Schefter. Thank you very much. We already kind of assumed that was going to be the case, but thank you very much, Shefty. Moving on. We had a couple questions that came in. Rick, full PPR. Thank you very much, Rick. Says, flex Deontay Johnson, Isaiah Likely, A.J. Dillon, or Deion Jackson. In a full PPR scoring format, I'd play Deontay there. Thank you. Appreciate it. We're back. That's correct. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. David Beaton in the chat says Eagles or Commanders defense. I have the Commanders ahead of the Eagles by one spot. 2 spots. I have Commanders at 2 and I have the Eagles at 4. Again, if you already have the Eagles defense and you'd have to like pick up the Commanders to drop somebody and then make that swap, like at this point, just keep the Eagles, right? Because you're going to play the Eagles defense for the remainder of the year. The only reason we want to pick up Washington is because we want to pick on the Cardinals offense. So if you're in a position where you're like, wow, I don't know if I really want to, I don't really know if I at any point want to drop any of my players on my bench to pick up Washington, then you just keep your Eagles defense. You're good to go, man. Javier in the chat said James Cook or Drake London. I'll take James Cook there. Aaron in the chat says, what about Taysom Hill, bro? Listen, Taysom Hill's so risky, right? The assumption, if we are to assume he finds the end zone, truly, if we were to assume he finds the end zone, he could very easily be a top 10 tight end and go back to what he was last year. But he's currently on the Saints depth chart as the 3rd string quarterback. He's not even rostered as a tight end on their depth chart. I don't know how they're going to use him. They could use him as a quarterback, the Wildcat quarterback, and he could punch in a touchdown today. I can't. I got to wait and see what this offense is going to do. Having Jamal Williams there leads me to believe that Taysom Hill won't be as, run specialist, near the goal line in comparison. So we'll see. Koo or Dicker season long. I'll take Younghoe Koo rest of the season. Akers or Swift today? Caleb, I will take Akers. Again, a reminder, guys, for those of you who are just joining us, welcome. If you guys have not yet already, do me a solid. Take 2 seconds out of your day. Click the like button down below. It goes a long way in terms of supporting the channel. The rankings that are currently on screen are updated as of this morning. Half PPR, top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends. So as of right now, Akers, my number, 16 running back, and DeAndre Swift sits at number 29. So yeah, Akers at a pretty significant margin ahead of him. Someone in the chat was asking Odell Beckham Jr. or Mike Evans. I would take Mike Evans today. Thank you very much. And thoughts on Luke Musgrave today? I have him ranked. He is number 18 on my top 24 tight end rankings list. Do I trust him enough to start him even in the absence of someone like Christian Watson? Sure, I don't mind starting him, but I have to be in a very tough predicament into where I lost Kelsey or I lost Mark Andrews. I wasn't able to pick up Isaiah Likely because someone in my league already beat me to it. And Musgrave's the best option, right? Like, I don't mind playing him. I just don't love the idea of playing a rookie tight end in week 1. Just like I didn't love the idea of playing Sam Laporta. He got himself a pretty good utilization. Laporta had 4 or 5 receptions. Great, but unless they score touchdowns, tight ends are irrelevant. That's really the case, especially with these short yardage tight ends that don't have like the ability to stretch the field and play down the seam. All right, moving back to some of these questions. We had Rick. Now we go to Paul. Paul, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Paul says, hey, Andrew, in a full PPR for both, I've been going back and forth on my flex spot. Mostert or Jamal Williams. I prefer Mostert. The fact that A-Chain is inactive today certainly does help that in regards as well. And who do we start? Kittle over Likely. If he's good to go, I would play Kittle over Likely, yes. Again, I got to start my stud in that regard. So, yeah, Mostert and Kittle. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. Coco comes back with another question. Says, in a full PPR, pick one, Herbert, Swift, Pittman, or Nico Collins. I would play Khalil Herbert out of the bunch. Thank you. Diego Lopez says, Juju, Gabe Davis, or Javonte Williams. In the flex, I'm probably playing Juju Smith-Schuster there. Yeah, I'm going to probably go Juju there. Budai sends in a question. Where art thou? Where are your questions, Budai? Budai, I think your message was not attached, so I don't see it in the chat. I just tried to do the F3 function. It's not there. So Budai, if you could do me a solid, just type it in the chat and I'll get to it. Luis in the chat was asking Kittle or Okonkwo if Kittle is limited. We don't know if Kittle is going to be limited, right? So he's either going to play or he doesn't play. And if he plays, he's in my lineup over Okonkwo. Thoughts on OBJ this week? I'm hoping he plays well. I mean, really, I just don't know what to expect from that offense. We've made a lot of assumptions as to what Todd Monken's offense is going to look like, pass heavy, etc. But this is going to be a matchup where they probably mount a pretty early lead. Their defense helps them do that. And if that's going to be the case, should be a lot of running. So Ross, I just saw that. Let me go ahead and answer that. Ross says, I messed up my super chat question. Full PPR, Jamal Williams, D-Hop, Terry McLaurin, Harris, pick 2. If I'm picking 2 in a full PPR, I'm pretty sure I'm going with both the receivers. Let me confirm this. Jamal sits there. Where is McLaurin in comparison? Yeah, I'm going with both the receivers there. I'll take McLaurin and I'll take Hopkins. Thank you, Ross. Appreciate it. So we had Diego Budai we're waiting for. We go to Donovan Langley. Thank you very much, Donovan. I appreciate it. It says, will you run through defense and kickers, please? Okay, we just did that. Hopefully you heard it. If you did, give me a thumbs up in the chat, Donovan, so that we're good. Otherwise, I'll run through it again if I have to. Moving on to X6 Milo says, full PPR, pick 2. 2 different starter sit questions. Not even pick 2. 2 different starter sit questions. First one, Addison Burks Flowers. I'll take Flowers there. Follow up, JSN Flowers, Dobbs, Mingo, Reed. Out of the second group, I will take Dobbs. Thank you. We move on. Let me see. Ross. Okay, good. We're good to go there. Thank you, Ross. Appreciate it. Where the heck is Budai, man? Where did he go? Is he gone? Off the scene? No problem. We move on to Breezy's question. Says Kincaid or Kittle? Obviously Kittle, but he's not 100%. Yeah, I know. I mean, we're probably in the same train of thought, right? In the idea that we want to start Kittle. We're worried about his health. We're worried that he's going to be limited, and if that's going to be the case, he's going to burn us this week. But I also don't want to be the guy that has Kittle on his bench when he scores 15 fantasy points. So at this point, considering he's probably going to be active, he's going to be in my lineup. And if I end up getting burnt by it, it is what it is. Mac8 in the chat was saying, is Gabe Davis that terrible? Because you have never had him in your wide receiver rankings. Yeah, I've never had him in my wide receiver rankings. The primary reason why is because he's super inconsistent. If you go look at Gabe Davis's season last year, he had only, I think I can, let me confirm this before I talk out of my ass. But I'm almost fairly certain. He had like 10 games of less than like 6 fantasy points, or some stupid number, man. Gabe Davis was so inconsistent last year. He also only had a 48% catch percentage, or 51% reception percentage in terms of the overall targets he had, but he just wasn't great. Half PPR last year, okay? He had 5 games of over 10 fantasy points, and he had 8 games of less than 8 fantasy points. So if we're just predicting his potential, he's got about a 50% rate of like, hey, I'm going to put up 10 points or more, or I'm going to show up and completely get stunned out and put up 4 or 5 points. Last year against the Jets, 4.6 and 4.3. Not the greatest weeks, and I'm hoping he could play better, but I just don't trust it enough to suggest it to you because I think it's very risky for week 1. So what does that say? Truthman says, do anyone trust Aaron Jones tonight? So does anybody trust Aaron Jones tonight? Not only do I trust him, I literally have him ranked as my number 9 running back. But anyway, moving on. We finish off that question. I'm looking for Donovan Langley. Did he give me a thumbs up? I don't think Langley's here. I don't know if the other guy I was looking for, where's Budai? I don't know where he went. Either way, we keep it moving. Acast3 says, J.K. Dobbins or Stevenson? If you're worried about Stevenson, you can play J.K. Dobbins. They're back-to-back in my rankings, even in a full PPR. I prefer Stevenson because of the receiving upside. So, yeah. Breezy says, Kittle can... Okay, so we're good there. Trey Day says, Trey, I haven't even gotten to your question yet. So, I'll get there in a moment. I'm still trying to catch up. I didn't miss your super chat. Trust me, I didn't. I'm still trying to catch up to it, my man. So we go to Only Squids. Says half PPR, Rashad White or Ridley. Give me Ridley there. Thank you. Eric sends in a question. Says half PPR. Johnson likely. I would play Deontay Johnson over Isaiah Likely. Drop A-Chain / Roshan Johnson for room. No, I'd like to keep them. Let's see here. We're good. Marquise Brown has changed from questionable to healthy. That's what was expected. Keep it moving. After Eric's question, we move on to Trey Day. He says Christian Kirk, DJ Moore, or Jamal Williams in a standard league. I would play Jamal Williams out of those 3 in a standard format. Second best would be Christian Kirk. Third would be DJ Moore. Thank you. JWH28. Look at your spam email. Look at your spam email. Otherwise, JWH, otherwise there's something missing on your end because I sent out a lot of emails this morning, a lot. All right. So before I continue, a couple follow-ups. Okay. Everything on screen is updated rankings. As of this morning, half PPR, 4 point per passing touchdown. There's about 1,200 of you in here. Welcome to week 1 of the 2023 fantasy football season. If you guys have not yet already, do me a solid, click the like button down below. It takes 2 seconds out of your day, but it makes a huge difference in terms of boosting the algorithm and keeping Andrew continuing to produce daily fantasy content, waking up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning to talk fantasy, So yeah, if just like Ray said, if we can get to 1,000 likes, that would be incredible. Be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys. Rush sends in a question. Says full PPR Dobbins, Lockett, Ridley at the flex position. I'm probably playing Ridley there, to be honest. Let me confirm this. I have Ridley there. Yeah, I have Ridley ahead of Dobbins by 7 spots, 22 to 29. I go Ridley there. Thank you. Rush, we're good to go. Appreciate it. Jack Herrig says, Gino or Richardson, half PPR. I need heavy upside. Yeah, I go Gino there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Gino's not just upside. Gino's also consistency, which is great. David Garcia says, what teams do you have winning in week 1? That's a great question that I'll probably hold off till we get to the end of the stream. I'll make my predictions probably in like the last 10 minutes. Thank you. Kyle says, I lost Watson, Lazard or Hodgins week 1 PPR. Let me see who I have ranked higher. I have Isaiah Hodgins 55. I have Alan Lazard at 52. So I'd go with Lazard there. Thank you. Christian Kirk or Mostert in the flex, full PPR. I probably still play Mostert there, to be honest. Okay, we got that. Let me see if I can find Budai. Budai is gone. He's just not even there. Okay. And then let me make sure. Did we get to Donovan? Donovan, did you end up? I'm assuming you got the defensive rankings and then my bad, dude. Sorry. Can you rewind it? Okay. We'll do it right now. Okay. So again, reminder, defensive rankings. I'm going to go through them relatively quickly. So try to keep an ear out for this. Here we go. Defense and kicker rankings week 1. Defense is number 1, Baltimore Ravens. Number 2, Washington Commanders. Number 3, San Francisco 49ers. Number 4, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 5, Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 6, New Orleans Saints. Number 7, Minnesota Vikings. Number 8, Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 9, Buffalo Bills. Number 10, Denver Broncos. Number 11, Atlanta Falcons. And number 12, it is the Dallas Cowboys. We move on to kicker rankings. Number 1, Justin Tucker. Number 2, Jason Myers. Number 3, Evan McPherson. Number 4, Young Wei Koo. Number 5, we have Cameron Dicker. Number 6 is Daniel Carlson. Number 7, Brandon McManus. Number 8, Tyler Bass. Number 9, Greg Joseph. Number 10, Jason Sanders. Number 11, Graham Gano. And number 12 is Joey Sly. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, where are we at here? Is Bellinger a good replacement for Waller if he doesn't play? No, I don't believe so. Bellinger did not play well last year, but he was a rookie, so I give him that. But for now, yeah, it's tough. Donald Smith in the chat asks, "What are we having for lunch today, bro?" I still need to have breakfast. What are we talking about lunch for? Let's see here. The Enlightened Ones in the chat was saying, "I got a free spot. Thoughts on Mingo versus Tank Dell?" Tank Dell, I think the offense he's associated with makes it a little bit sketchier, but I do like the idea of him. But for now, I'd lean more towards Mingo because I know he's going to be starting. Tank Dell's probably going to still be behind Nico Collins and Robert Woods within the lineup, while Mingo will be starting with Adam Thielen within the first team offense. Thank you. Let's see here. Ross says gets the likes up. Yeah, I mean, listen, we're at 750 likes. There's 1,300 of you in here. If we can continue to bring that number up, again, we'll be here for the next hour 15 answering questions. Hopefully we can get to everybody, or by proxy answering everybody's questions. Again, rankings are on screen, up to date, half PPR. If you guys have signed up using code Andrew and made a first time deposit minimum of $10 since August 1st of 2023, you will have an email in your current inbox that is associated with the Underdog account that you made, the same email. It should probably be either in your inbox or your spam folder. Be sure to check that out because I have sent rankings already out this morning. As of probably, what was it, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I sent those out. Maybe earlier. I don't know. The time has kind of just been a different construct as late. I've been living in the fourth dimension. Moving on, we have the question from David Garcia. David, I hope you're doing well. We already took care of that. We'll answer what teams I have winning in week 1 at the end of the stream. I'll actually go ahead and write a note down for that. Just so I don't forget it. Which teams winning? Okay, good. We'll hold that there. DB sends in a question. Says Marquise Hollywood Brown or Dalvin Cook full PPR. I'll take Dalvin Cook there. Follow-up question, Komet or Likely? I'll take Likely. Vic84 says full PPR. Miles Sanders, Mike Williams, AJ Dillon, or Burks? I'll play Mike Williams there. Thank you. Dave Curtis says full PPR. Deion Jackson or Brandon Ayuk? I'll take Brandon Ayuk. Mike Reaney says half PPR, Samaje Perine or Van Jefferson. Give me Samaje Perine. Heisenberg says Khalil Herbert or Dameon Pierce in week 1. I'll take Dameon Pierce. Thank you. Matthew Callender says, with DJ Chark ruled out today, should I start Adam Thielen? Adam Thielen, currently questionable. Obviously, he's probably going to suit up today. I don't have him ranked very highly amongst all players in a half PPR scoring format amongst wide receivers. He's my number 47. So even though he should be a primary part of that offense, I'm not 100% how healthy he is. And again, it's going to be tough considering his age of 33 to be at a full capacity as of today. So you could start him. It just depends on what the alternative option is there, Matthew. Thank you. Senior Kickoff says, full PPR, Mostert or Godwin? I'm fairly certain. I mean, we'll let me look it up. Godwin I have there. Mostert I have there. Yeah, I have Godwin ahead of Mostert in a full PPR. Thank you. Acast says Deontay Johnson or Drake London. I'm fairly certain I have Deontay Johnson behind Drake London in a full PPR. I can confirm this. I do. I'll take Drake London there. Easier matchup. Pretty easy day. We move on to Coco. Says Tua or Carr. I'll take Tua today. Thank you very much. Joey B with a Bengal as his logo. Let's see, Joey, where you at? There wasn't a message attached to it, Joey, so if you can do me a favor and type that out, I'd be greatly appreciated so I can get to your question. Thank you. We had Ty said Waller likely to play. Waller or Higbee full PPR. If you are not worried about it, play Waller because I think Waller is a better play than Higbee. The only reason I have Waller lower in rank is because I don't want to get burnt. And if you have an alternative option, there's also a top 4 option. You might want to just go with a safer guy that you know is going to play in the morning slate rather than risk it. But if you trust it as much as I do, we wait till Waller tonight. Let's see here. Taysom Hill or likely. Any reason why you wouldn't include Taysom Hill here? Yeah, it's because Taysom Hill is not going to get any receiving work. He is purely just rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. So under the assumption that he's going to get himself 60 rushing yards, that'll be great, right? 6 points. Fantastic. Not great. He needs to score a touchdown. Without a touchdown, Taysom Hill is not dependable enough in fantasy for me to trust him because he's not going to get much receiving work. He may throw a couple passes. I don't know what they're going to do with him, really. It's a gamble. It really is. You're just kind of it's not even flipping a coin. You're really just taking a 20-sided dice and you're hoping it lands on a 20. You're hoping you hit a nat 20 on a roll. So that's the issue. But could end up panning out. You never know. Juju or AJ Dillon? That's actually a really good question. I think I might go with the receiver there in a half PPR, but let me see what I have Juju at. I have Juju there. I have AJ Dillon at 71 and Juju at 75 in a half PPR. So in a half PPR, it's Dillon. Full PPR, it's Juju. Thank you. All right, we had a question. Let me see. Did Joey B end up typing anything? Joey, where you at, my man? Joey B said, I messed up the super chat. I got my black hoodie. Thanks. Nice. Awesome. Very comfortable. Awesome. Thank you. Again, yeah, if you guys can see, wearing the merch. If you guys are interested, check out AndrewKirchhoffShop.com today. Again, these tie-dye hoodies that are Champion branded. Again, Champion. See, wait. Can you guys even see that? Yeah, you guys can see it, right? Champion branded. They are in a limited stock, so these tie-dye hoodies, get them today. Thank you. Okay, so Joey B, your question. My gut is telling me all week that Addison should be in my flex. Talk me as to why I should start Ayuk over him. Yeah, so Addison's not even starting. That's the issue. KJ Osborne is actually starting ahead of him on the depth chart. So under the assumption that this team plays a little bit more two tight end sets, which is possible. There's a reason why they went ahead and signed the best run blocking tight end this offseason off of the Ravens team. I think the guy's last name is Oliver. There could be a lot of two tight end sets, and if that's going to be the case, could be a lot of Hawkinson in the slot position and may have a rookie like Addison not on the field. And if that's going to be the case, we'll probably be sitting in a situation where we might want to just go ahead and play a guy that we know is going to be on the field every snap, which is Ayuk. Thank you. Rashad White or Najee Harris, so conflicted. I would play Rashad White only in a full PPR in that scenario. Otherwise, it's really tough to trust, Rashad White comparatively. I think Najee Harris could get himself some goal line utilization there and himself some, receiving upside because he is so great. Let's see here. We had a couple more questions that flew in here. We took care of that. Gary says, in a full PPR, Waller, should I drop A-Chain or Mims for Juwan Johnson or likely? Oh man. No, let's risk it, baby. Let's risk it. Let's go for it. Keep what you have. Let's go with Waller. Worst case scenario, then we'll swap to somebody else on tomorrow's slate. We'll pick up Tyler Conklin. Thank you, Jonathan McMaster. I always like that last name, McMaster. That's always great. Dobbs, Hyatt, Slayton, Kendre in my second flex spot. We're playing not Joshua Dobbs. We're playing Romeo Dobbs of the Green Bay Packers in your second flex spot. Thank you. Q Crew says, Mostert or Brandon Cooks? We'll play Mostert there. Thank you. Perry or Paul? Nice to see you, Perry. Hope you're doing well. Need a wide receiver. Mims, Burks, or Mingo? I'll play Mims there. Jerry Judy's out. Gucci Han, Louis Han. Hope you're doing well, man. Big Dog, good to see you again. T or Miles in a half PPR. So T Higgins or Miles Sanders. Let's see where we're at here. Where's Sanders? Sanders, where art thou? Sanders at 36, T Higgins at 32. So T Higgins is the play. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nice to see you as well, Gucci Han. Supreme Chief says, full PPR, Higbee, Juwan Johnson, Waller. I'm playing Higbee, man. I mean, listen, if it's between him and Waller and risking it, you might as well just play Higbee. If you want to risk it for the biscuit, be my guest. Waller probably, if healthy and at a full capacity, should very easily be able to outproduce Tyler Higbee. Should be able to. Like, undoubtedly. It's just, are we going to get him playing tonight? That's the question. The assumption is that he will. Fingers crossed he will. Therefore, you kind of just, you can go there and play it. But you don't have to. That's the only difference. You don't have to, considering you have great options. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that, man. Brandon Orozco in the chat was saying Drake London or Dameon Pierce in the flex. I'd probably go Dameon Pierce there. Thank you. Flowers or Charbonnet, half PPR, Flowers. Isaac in the chat was saying full PPR as my wide receiver 2 and flex. Do I play London, Terry, B-Rob? Out of the group, I would probably play both of the Washington Commanders players, Terry and B-Rob. Thank you. Moving on, we had Tony It says full PPR, Dotson or James Cook. You're the man. Man, that one's close. I like James Cook a lot. I can talk myself into playing him in that regard. I currently have Jahan Dotson at 51 and James Cook at 57. So Jahan Dotson in a full PPR is the suggestion. I could talk myself into playing James Cook. I don't know what kind of a, outright utilization he's going to get. I know he's going to dominate the receiving work, but they still have, Dameon Pierce running the rock, especially near the goal line. They presented that in the preseason, which obviously scared us a little bit there. But for now, we'll probably just go with Dotson. Thank you. Moving on. Tyler Lockett or Jamal Williams in a full PPR. I'll take Tyler Lockett there, Devil Dog. Thank you. Cody in the chat was asking, as a diehard Vikings fan, I'd be weary with Addison week 1. Yeah, that's probably the assumption. If you have the option of KJ Osborne is very underrated and will likely get a lot of work early season. Yeah, that's probably the assumption for every rookie receiver. Every rookie receiver should be slow to start because, again, every rookie typically is slow to start unless you're, a special guy like Bijan Robinson, who hopefully is going to have himself a nice 20-point game today. But outside of that, we're good. Yeah, we should be good to go. The Credo says, hi, Andrew. What's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Mims or Swift? I'd play Swift there. Yeah, I'm willing to risk it with the Swift play. Thomas or Brandon Cooks? Jensen, I'd play Brandon Cooks. Again, guys, rankings on screen are up to date, half PPR as of this morning. I have Brandon Cooks at 33 and Michael Thomas at 34. You can follow it. You can avoid it. Do whatever pleases your heart going into week 1. I'm just here to try to give you guys what I would do to hopefully give you guys some, recency bias or some sort of confirmation bias in regards to your decision making by the end of the week. All right. Where are we at? Eric says, tuning in late, Waller or Likely in a half PPR. I'd probably roll with Waller there if I have a chance. Okay, here we go. Where art thou? We need a couple more questions to get answered. Okay, Mark Fu says, start 2 out of the potential 4 options in a full PPR scoring format. We have Brandon Ayuk, we have Jordan Addison, we have Adam Thielen, and Brandon Cook. So of the available wide receivers you have, the ones that I trust the most are Brandon Ayuk and Brandon Cooks in specific. Quentin Johnston, he's probably not going to get much utilization. Again, another one of these rookie wide receivers. You also have Raheem Mostert there. So of your available options, if I'm only picking 2 and benching 4, I'm playing Brandon Ayuk and I'm playing Raheem Mostert. Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it. Sticky says, looking for an answer at my flex. Should I start Michael Thomas or Dameon Pierce, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, full PPR league? Oh, man. I probably want to stick with Dameon Pierce there. Like, once I get to a certain point of that wide receiver position, it kind of becomes more of a crapshoot rather than like a guarantee that Michael Thomas is going to have himself ridiculously high upside in comparison to a lot of those other guys at the position. Currently, where is Dameon Pierce on these rankings? Let's see here. So Pierce is 60. I have Michael Thomas at 68 in a full PPR. I have them ranked as such in my flex. I'd go with Dameon Pierce. That's my suggestion. Thank you. Where are we at? Mostert or Ayuk? Someone was asking that in the chat. Let's see if I can find the answer really quickly while I'm looking at these rankings. Ayuk is 52. Mostert is 47 in a full PPR. I go with Mostert there. Thank you. Hopefully that also answers other people's questions by proxy. London over Pierce in a PPR, Joseph? Yeah, I'd venture to say that's accurate, at least as to what I would do. Moving on. After Sticky's question, we have LP. LP says, I'm stuck. Half PPR flex, Javonte Williams or George Pickens. Okay, so if you're siding between one of the two, again, Javonte Williams should be in a pitch count limited role. At least that is my assumption. Between the two, I actually probably have Javonte Williams ranked higher than Pickens. In a half PPR, what I expect to see Pickens in terms of his overall base play is probably like 4 catches, 65 yards this week. So unless he scores a touchdown, it's kind of going to be tough to trust him comparatively. But that being said, I still have Pickens ranked higher because Javonte is just, until I see it, I don't want to make any moves into where I'm starting him and he only gets himself maybe like 7 or 8 touches. It's not worth the risk that is implied with it, in my opinion. It could have upside, but it's just very risky. Your follow-up question for your second league is in a full PPR. Drake London or DJ Moore. I'd play Drake London there. Follow-up flex, James Conner or Khalil Herbert. In a full PPR scoring format, let me check here. Where do I have Khalil Herbert in comparison to James Conner? I have James Conner at 20 and Khalil Herbert at 21, so I play Conner ahead of him. Thank you. Again, that receiving upside that Conner's going to have is pretty much the difference maker. Appreciate it. Miles Sanders or Chris Godwin, PPR. I'd probably play Chris Godwin there. Moving on, we had Dobbins or Mike Williams question at the flex. That's a really good one. Under the assumption we're playing in a half PPR, I'd play Dobbins there. Shane Howard, thank you very much, Shane. I appreciate that. Says, hey, go start one at the wide receiver and one at the flex. We have Drake London. We have Dalvin Cook. We have Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, and sleeper Jalen Hyatt. The issue with Jalen Hyatt is that he plays behind Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, and Paris Campbell. And he is a rookie, so it's going to be, like maybe he can catch a deep ball down the sideline, but ultimately the opportunities that he's going to have, especially with, Daniel Jones not really being the most proficient deep ball passing quarterback, are going to be limited. So he's kind of out of this entire conversation. If I'm playing one wide receiver out of the group there, it is going to be Drake London. If I'm playing a flex out of the group there, it is going to be Dalvin Cook. So London and Cook, thank you. Let's see, what do we have here? Mike in the chat was saying Hopkins or London full PPR. I'd play Hopkins. Let's see. Estefan in the chat was saying will likely overproduce Everett today. Yeah, the assumption is that Isaiah likely will outproduce Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett is going to be a part of the offense, and primarily because we've seen Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator currently of the Los Angeles Chargers utilize his tight end position a lot with Dalton Schultz of the past with the Cowboys in the last 3 seasons. We're assuming that Gerald Everett will get himself some utilization on top of the fact that the Miami Dolphins defense has lacked in terms of specifically covering opposing tight ends. So he will get himself some good utilization. As to whether he'll be more productive than likely, I think that is unlikely for a lack of a better term, but we keep it moving. Chris says, pick 2.5 PPR, Miles Sanders, Christian Kirk, Zay Flowers, Chris Godwin, or A.J. Dillon. Also, Pittsburgh or Jacksonville defense. All right, between the two defenses, I prefer Jacksonville's. As for the flex options, if we're playing 2 of them, I will take Miles Sanders and I will take Chris Godwin. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you. Jorge Perez, where art thou question? Let's see where didn't it get attached to your message or your super chat? So I'm going to see if I can find it here. Jorge, where is it? It didn't get attached, Jorge. So if you can message or send something in, that'd be great. Moving on, we had another question that rolled in. Shane Howard says, also in my 2 tight end PPR league, I have Andrews out. I have Irv Smith and Trey McBride, unless I drop someone for like Logan Thomas, Hooper, Mayer, or Henry. No, I mean, look, at this point, Irv Smith's fine. I think Trey McBride is probably pretty sketchy because Zach Ertz is expected to play. So if I was going to swap out Trey McBride for someone from the Arizona Cardinals, I don't really trust Logan Thomas. I don't really trust... Actually, Austin Hooper could be a decent play, but I probably end up playing Hunter Henry alongside Irv Smith there. That's just the way I would go about it. How do you feel about DJ Moore? Field stack? The issue that I have with DJ Moore today is Jair Alexander. The coverage at cornerback is going to be tough. That being said, Field should play well, and hopefully DJ Moore could be serviceable. His upside is purely limited to the volume of targets he gets. Because if he gets 10 targets, and that's way more than I'm expecting today, especially with the coverage that'll be on point, he will probably outproduce, or very likely outproduce, my current ranking of him on screen. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind the stack. It's just understand the limitations of what DJ Moore presents because of the matchup. Thank you. Jorge, did you message anything as of late? No? Jorge, where you at, my man? There you are. Jorge Perez says, I need 1 wide receiver. We have Burks. We have Rashid Shaheed. We have Addison. Okay. Also, I have the Cowboys defense. Can pick up Commanders. Who do I drop? I have Shaheed. I have Taysom. I have Addison. Or just drop the Cowboys for the Command. No, do not drop the Cowboys. If I was to make a suggestion, it would be to drop Rashid Shaheed for the Commanders and swap the defenses out that way. Follow up. Who we're starting in the flex out of those available options is probably Addison. Thank you. we move on. Who's the next question? We had Vince Dallas. Thank you very much, Vince. I appreciate it. He says, in a full PPR, flex Dylan, Jaden Reed, or Tank Dell. In a full PPR, that's actually a good question. I might have Jaden Reed ahead of Dylan, but I'm thinking I don't. Let me confirm this. Dylan is at 79. Where's Jaden Reed? Jaden Reed's at 88. Yeah, we go AJ Dillon there. Thank you. Let's see here. BU02215 says, Cam Akers or Rashad White full PPR? I'll take Cam Akers there. Thank you. Follow up, we have a question from Trojan3659. Hope you're doing well, Trojan. He says, Brandon Ayuk or Michael Thomas. Thanks, Andrew. I'll take Brandon Ayuk in a full PPR. Appreciate it. James Conner or Addison says Julian Green. I'll take James Conner there this week. Khaled said full PP. Okay, in a 8-team full PPR, do I start Higgins or Akers? I see that they're both at 16 in your rankings. Okay, so they're both at 16 in their own positional rankings. As for where they're at in terms of flex rankings, let me go ahead and let's figure this out. I have T. Higgins at 31, and I have Cam Akers at 36. So it would be T. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on, we have Flotation Swag. He says, I have Elijah Mitchell, Kenneth Gainwell, Roshan Johnson, Deontay Foreman, and Rashad Penny. Out of those guys, which two should I start? Probably, I don't want to start any of them, but if I had to start two, it would be Elijah Mitchell and Kenneth Gainwell. Thank you. Jay Gar says, need to pick a tight end, drop Ayuk or Sky Moore. I would drop Sky Moore. He has done nothing to prove that he deserves to stay on roster when we need a tight end. Chris said, yes, Chris, I did skip you. I apologize. I'm right there, man. I got you. Says, I don't know why. I saw the logo and I was like, yeah, I've already answered this one, but I don't know why I thought that. Chris, thank you very much, first and foremost. Second of all, Gabe Davis, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Elijah Moore, Rashid Shaheed. I'd play Marquise Hollywood Brown today. Thank you. German Shepherd Dad says, greetings and salutations, Andrew. Good luck today. Thanks for the guidance and support. All right, thank you very much. Those are very kind words. I appreciate it. All right, couple reminders. Again, it is only 9:05. I'm here for the next 55 minutes, okay? So we're going to try to continue to answer questions. Couple reminders. First and foremost, every ranking that is currently on screen is updated as of this morning. So if you need a little bit of guidance as to what I would do for a half PPR, 4 point per passing touchdown, in regards to my top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends, rankings are on screen. At around 9:30 PST, I will so about 25 minutes, I'll once again go over top 12 defenses and kickers. Another reminder, for those of you guys who have already signed up using Underdog Fantasy with my code this season from August 1st till now, and signed up using the code, made a first-time deposit minimum of $10, go check your email, specifically your spam folder, because you will probably get an email, or you have already gotten an email from me that is titled Week 1 Sunday Half PPR, Full PPR Rankings, September 10th, 2023. It will have all my rankings there, so if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, for those of you who have already taken advantage of that. For those of you who want to take advantage of that for future weeks, again, check out Underdog Fantasy. Be sure to go ahead, sign up, make that first-time deposit minimum of $10, and you'll be able to get my rankings every single Sunday morning, emails from myself to you from weeks 2 through 18. Even though you weren't able to take advantage of it today, you'll be able to get that help for the remainder of the season. Before I continue answering questions, a reminder, if you guys could do me a solid, click the like button. Greatly appreciate it. Moving on. Where are we at here? We move to Flotation. We got him. Crystal Richardson. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Says, replacing Watson, I have Deion Jackson, Collins, and Deontay Johnson. Also, okay, so let's answer that first and foremost. If we're replacing Christian Watson, we're going to play Deontay Johnson in his stead. Follow up, I also have Zeke if Stevenson is out, or pick up Mostert and drop Addison. Yeah, if in fact, okay, so Stevenson's not going to be out, so you probably under the assumption you have Stevenson on your roster and you're handcuffing Zeke, that's fine. If I was in your position, Chris, I'd honestly drop Zeke and go pick up Mostert just for the future, because I'd want to have another starting running back on my team. But that's just kind of my perspective on the matter. Thank you. Let's see here. Elias, thank you very much, says full PPR, pick 3, Madison, Mostert, Sutton, Lockett. That's a really good question. Where do I have Lockett in comparison to Mostert? Let's see here. Mostert's there. Sutton's there. Lockett's. Okay, cool. So out of the 4 available options you have, Elias, I'm playing Madison, Sutton, and Lockett in a full PPR. Thank you. Lalo says, do you trust Sick Stevenson versus the Eagles over Michael Williams? Are we talking about a half PPR? So if that's the question, yes. I would play a sick Ramondre Stevenson over Mike Williams. In a full PPR, I'd probably still do the same. Because even with him being sick and missing practice on Friday, it doesn't have to be like an illness to where he's like this isn't Jordan, sick game. We're not, you know what I mean? Like it's not the flu game. It could be. We don't know, right? We're unaware of his, personal condition right now. But we know he missed practice. That's all we know. It could just be like, yo, coach, I can't leave the toilet. We're having trouble over here. Like, okay, great. Take care of that. We'll see you on Sunday, So ultimately, I'm assuming he'll be fine. But if you want to play someone else just to avoid the risk, I don't see there being too much implied risk there from my perspective. Moving on, we had Omar G. Omar, I didn't see a question attached there, but we'll see if I can find one. Where's Omar, man? Yeah, Omar, you got to type in the chat, man. Nothing came through in that regard. Moving on to Chris Moraga. Thank you very much, Chris. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Flex, Breece Hall or Treylon Burks? Give me Breece Hall there. Thank you. Justin sends in a question, says, play James Cook or Samaje Perine? Give me James Cook in a full PPR. He'll have more receiving upside, so his ranking even kind of further separates from Samaje Perine in that regard. Ryan Johnson in the chat was asking, would you play Sutton in the weather currently in Denver or Michael Thomas? Let's go look at the NFL weather report, shall we? So currently, Falcons are in a dome. 55% chance of rain for the Ravens game. 16% chance for the Browns game. Dome game for the Colts, Vikings, and Saints home game. Okay, Steelers 25% chance. Washington 56. Denver Broncos. It says, quote unquote, rainy, 35% chance of raining. Weather is 73 degrees Fahrenheit for a 4:25 p.m. Pacific Standard Time start. I'm fine with it. I'd play Sutton there. I'm not worried about him. Flotation Swag says OBJ question mark. Let's hope he plays well, man. I don't know. Let's at this point, I think it's far too risky to play him, considering I don't know what to expect from that offense. So for now, I'll just go ahead and, where do I have him ranked? It's kind of pretty much, let's see, half PPR, wide receivers, Odell Beckham Jr., currently ranked at 44. So he's not totally out of the realm of possibility of being a starting option. I just don't trust him as much. Moving on, we're looking for Omar's question. Omar, you in there? Omar. Samaje Perine, Elijah Moore, or Damian Harris, full PPR. I'll take Samaje. Thank you. Moving on, we had Rowett. He said, greetings, salutations. What's up, Rowett? Hope you're doing well. Jesse Rodriguez in the chat was saying Dulcich seems like a good tight end. He should be decent. Currently, I don't have him really highly ranked because I didn't see much that I loved in the preseason from him. In the way that they were going to utilize him in this offense. So I was a little concerned in that regard. But for now, could be a decent play. Could be. No guarantees, though. Moving on, we had Michael Olson. Says, no question, just glad to say we're back in action, baby. Football is back. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. And this is the best time of the year, guys. We all know it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is when football kicks off. And, I don't know. I don't really have any words. I just want to go sit on my couch and just enjoy all the games. I have NFL Sunday ticket now because YouTube bought that. Already got my membership ready to go. NFL Sunday ticket ready to just watch every game. And then obviously looking at, Red Zone. Scott Hansen does his job there with, 7 hours of commercial-free, nonstop NFL touchdowns. We love it. But anyway, moving on. Chris sends in a question. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate that. He says, Hall or Swift? I have Saquon as my RB1. I'll take Swift. Hall's going to be limited this week. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. 18 full PPR, Deontay Johnson or Mostert? I'll take Mostert there. Can you please fix the typo at quarterback? Is there really a typo at quarterback? Oh, there's no R. I didn't even realize that. Okay, thank you. I will fix that right now. Thanks for pointing that out, man. Yeah, let me go ahead and let me open up Photoshop. My computer might crash and everything might explode because I'm fixing one letter, but my OCD will allow me to fight through it and get the job done. I didn't even realize that. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. We're missing multiple R's. It just went like what happened there? Like what happened at all? Like what how did I guess the R key on my keyboard stopped working? Like I don't get it. What happened there? Yo, the R key just like completely is just cooked. All right. As of right now, it should be fixed. I think it's fixed, right? I'm saving the file right now. Done. Close. Let's go back to my OBS. Quarterback. Thank you. Goodness gracious. What happened? The R key just stopped working, I guess. All right, moving on. Thank you very much, whoever pointed that out. Hyper says, watching since 2020, brother. See you keep growing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Jamal Williams or Michael Thomas, half PPR. I'll take Jamal Williams there, Ben. We had a question from Matt. Matt says, in a pick two in a full PPR, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman Jr., Antonio Gibson. Give me both receivers. I'll take Mike Evans and Michael Pittman Jr. Thank you. Luke says Penny is out, question mark. Is he really? I mean, I have Penny really low ranked, guys. Like currently in my half PPR, I've got Gainwell at 40 and I've got Penny. Where's Penny at? I have Penny at 48. Like he's not even he is pretty far out of the rotation. Now, I don't know how they're going to utilize him, but we'll see. Defensive rankings, yes, we'll take care of that in about 10 minutes. How did it put an extra R in there? Oh, come on, man. Now my R key is working extra hard. What in the... Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. All right, while I fix that, let me try to answer as many questions as I can. Oh, my gosh. Should we take care of Omar's question? Yeah, okay. We're going Samaje Pirine there. Omar, thank you. DeAndre Warren, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. PPR, flex, Pirine or Dotson? Give me Dotson there. I cannot believe it typed an extra R for no... Like, what was that about? Whatever. I don't care. We got it fixed, ladies and gentlemen. I think. I can't believe that. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. Okay, let's save the Photoshop document and we're good to go. Don't show me this again. We're good. Thank you. Save. 4281. Done. Close. And we should be fixed now. Ah, there it is. That's great. Beautiful. Moving on. We had a question that came in from Adriel Rios. Thank you very much. Says, Watson or Cousins 6 point per passing touchdown. In a 6 point per passing touchdown league, I will play Kirk Cousins ahead of Deshaun Watson this week. Thank you. George Kittle is officially active. Thank you very much, Greg. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Moving on, we have Akers or White, says James Clough. I will take Akers there. Again, guys, rankings are on screen, updated as of this morning, and quite literally Photoshop updated to correct the fact that my R button was not working earlier today. So if you guys are interested, of course, rankings are on screen for a half PPR, 4 point per passing touchdown league in regards to the top 36 running backs, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends. Of course, we're going to be continuing to answer questions. In about 10 minutes, I will be going over my top 12 kickers and defenses for this week. Thank you very much. Cash Kid, I would go with Aaron Jones there. John Hernandez, I would go with Kittle there over Muth. Let's see here. Shoth. So Samaje Pirine or Flowers. I'd go with Samaje there. We had a question that came in from DeAndre Warren again. He says, in a PPR Superflex, would you play AR13 or Addison or Pirine? I'm playing Anthony Richardson there. Very confidently there. DeAndre, thank you. Daniel Cap says, back for another flex PPR, Madison or Lockett? I'm fairly certain I'm going with Madison there. Let me Control F. Madison is 28. Lockett is 30. Yeah, Madison's there. Varial says, Chris Godwin or James Conner PPR? I will take Chris Godwin. Thank you. What do we do with Swift with Penny out? My assumption was that Penny wasn't going to get any work anyway, so I'm not moving my ranking. Just a heads up. Like, I already had Penny ranked as my number 48 running back and Gainwell as number 40. So I knew there was going to be, like obviously a rotation of sorts, but I guess this just gives you more confidence potentially into starting Swift if you didn't already have it. But I think Swift's kind of in the same spot. Him and Gainwell are going to be splitting. Devonta Smith over Chris Godwin? ? No, I like Devonta Smith even with the weather in New England today. Etienne or Ramondre in a full PPR? I prefer Ramondre. He has more receiving upside in comparison. Khalil Herbert or Deontay Johnson? I'll probably take Khalil there. Yeah. Greetings and salutations, says Jimmy. Damian Pierce or Elijah Moore? I'll take Damian Pierce there. Thank you. Akers or Javonte Williams in a non-PPR? I'll take Akers there. We had RKO Destiny sends in a question. Says, love the hard work. In a half PPR flex one between Charbonnet, Algier, Damian Harris. Charbonnet, Algier, Damian Harris. I'll take Algier out of the three. Follow up. My gut says the highest touchdown upside is Harris, but he's under both. Yeah, the issue with Harris is that, yes, he has potential touchdown upside, but I can't guarantee that he scores one. And that's it. Like, if he doesn't score a touchdown, is he going to be valuable enough to start over guys like Charbonnet and Algier? I don't think that'll be the case. So for now, wait. What ranking? What format did you say? You said flex. Oh, half PPR. Yeah, then you just roll with Charbonnet. Yeah. Never mind. Forget even Algier. Just play Charbonnet because Harris is not going to get any receiving work. Neither is Algier. They're probably all going to get the same workload in terms of rushing attempts, like 8 to 10 touches. So if that's going to be the case, yeah, I'll just take Charbonnet in an advantageous matchup. Thank you. Let's see here. Just Get It Done says, started Gibbs in a full PPR, flex Moore or Evans? DJ Moore or Mike Evans? I'd probably just roll with... I don't love either of them. I'd probably just roll with DJ Moore, though. Dylan says in a PPR, Mike... what does it say? Mike's, Sanders, or Sutton? Who's Mike's? Mike Sanders, or are we talking about Miles Sanders? I think you meant Miles Sanders, and the autocorrect messed it up for you. So under that assumption, if it's a PPR, Miles Sanders versus Cortland Sutton, I'll take Sutton there. Who do you have higher ranked, Dobbs or Aaron Jones? Says Dalton. Dalton, just a heads up, right there, right up here, we have updated rankings as of this morning. So for a half PPR, it is on screen. I have Aaron Jones at number 9, and I have, who was the other player that you were mentioning? Where did it go? Or Dobbins. Dobbins at 13, right? So currently, or 14, excuse me. Currently off the rankings on screen, I would play Aaron Jones. So that's just my suggestion based on where I would go in a half PPR. So if you're interested, check it out. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Julian Green says James Conner or Mostert. Again, Julian, rankings are on screen. I would play Mostert over James Conner. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mostert or Treylon Burks in a full PPR, 1,000% B. You should be playing Mostert there. Rashad White or Cam Akers in a full PPR, I'll take Cam Akers. Sam Howell or Aaron Rodgers or Daniel Jones, I'll take DJ. Moving on, we have, we took care of that. Najee Harris or Ayuk, give me Najee. Always turn off autocorrect, says JRR token. The autocorrect is tricky, man. Sometimes it just does what it does. You got to let it just figure itself out. I'm just interested why it turned Miles into Mike's. Like, it's just weird. I guess near the keyboard, L and K, but whatever. Where are we at? OBJ or James Cook? Yeah, James Cook, 1,000% there, Steele. 1,000%. If OBJ wants the ball out, so be it. But I'll take the running back that is a starter, that has receiving upside, that is going to get himself a pretty good, workload of opportunities within the given week. Appreciate it. Let's see here. So we took care of RKO Destiny. We took care of Just Get It Done. Dylan said Miles Sanders. Okay, so we're good there. Awesome. Okay, in about 3 minutes, I'll mention top 12 kickers and defenses. A-Chain is droppable? I don't think so. Jeff Wilson's definitely pick-upable, if that's a word, considering he's on the IR, and if you have an IR available spot in your league, that's probably a guy I want to have on my IR spot, assuming it's not already filled up. What is that? Let's just move that. Okay, cool. Pierce or Dotson in a full PPR. I'll probably play Dotson there. Feels like the Ravens will run a lot. 12 personnel likely leaves. Feels like a bust. I mean, it's possible. Here's the thing, right? Okay, I got to start banning some things here. What are these chats? What is this? Let's get these out of here. What is this? Get this out of here as well. Okay, cool. Isaiah Likely is going to get utilized. As to the volume at which he does, it should be enough to where he is considered a top 10 player. I mean, if you go back to last season in the 2 games in which Mark Andrews was out and it was Isaiah Likely, he scored a touchdown in both those games. He was actually, pretty heavily utilized within the offense. So I'm not totally against the idea of playing him. I actually like the idea of playing him. That's why I have him ranked as such. Okay, let's see here. Dilo says, does Penny being out affect Swift's ranking? No, I expected Penny not to play, or at least be limited to a capacity. Mr. Kirchhoff, I'm looking real sharp. Thanks, Chad. Obviously, yep, Thank you, appreciate it. Let's see here. James Cook or Christian Kirk in a half PPR. I'll take the running back there. Akers or Godwin? Give me Akers. Thank you. Rashad White or Drake London? Give me Rashad White in the full PPR. Miles Sanders or DeAndre Swift? Give me Miles. Already starting Jacobs and Dobbins. Yeah, you got a pretty good trio there, Craig. Very, very, very good trio. Yeah, so I don't really expect the absence of Rashad Penny to affect him because, again, like I'll mention, I already had Rashad Penny ranked as my number 48 running back on the week. So pretty much not getting much utilization, if any at all. So Swift's ranking wasn't really contingent on the presence of someone like Rashad Penny. So if we were going to move him based on his current ranking of 29, I could justify moving him ahead of Samaje Perine at 28. I could justify that. I mean, if that'll make everyone, I mean, it'll make me feel better actually now that I'm thinking about it. We can move him up one spot. We could do that. But outside of that, I'm not playing him over Dalvin. Dalvin's going to get a pretty good workload of opportunities against the Buffalo defense on Monday, considering, of course, Breece Hall is going to be limited in his utilization. So let me go ahead. Let's adjust this, shall we? Just slightly. Nothing crazy here. We'll take Swift and Samaje, and we'll just swap them around. Boom. File, save as. Let's hope Photoshop doesn't crash this thing. Save as a JPEG, and we are good to go. Perfect. We're good? Awesome. So just slightly. Really, again, I wasn't expecting Rashad Penny to have more than like 4 or 5 rushing attempts. Because really, they haven't used him this offseason, especially in the preseason, as a guy that they want to use as an every down back. So we already had the indication that they probably weren't going to get much utilization out of him. Adam Thielen or Juju Smith-Schuster? John, I'd play Juju. Half PPR, Charbonnet or JSN? Let me check my rankings. Jackson. I like the name Jackson spelled with an X, by the way. That's actually, I don't know why. I just like that. Jackson Smith and Jigba or Charbonnet. I have Jackson Smith as 90 and Charbonnet as 91 in my flex. So JSN's the play in a half PPR. Thank you. Would you start Mingo or Gabriel Davis? Let me check my rankings. Let's see here. As for the wide receiver position, I have Mingo ranked as my... Mingo is... Look, there we go. The voice is already being lost about 2.5 hours in. Mingo is 49. Gabriel Davis is 43. So I play Gabe Davis. Godwin or Herbert in a standard? Give me Khalil Herbert there. Thank you. Full PPR. You taking Akers or Sutton? I think I'm taking Akers. Actually, though. Let's see. Where is Cortland? Yeah. I have Akers at 36 and Cortland Sutton at 40 in a full PPR. Okay, we had a couple questions sent in. We had Average Llama. He said half PPR. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Charbonnet or Elijah Moore. I'll take JSN there. Thank you very much. Rowett said I had Kelsey for the week, so I have to choose between Everett and Likely this week as a substitute. Who do you pick? Likely is my suggestion, like it is on screen. Thank you. Austin says cheers. Schultz or hope that Waller plays? I'll hope that Waller plays. Thank you. Toast says, am I a psycho for wanting to play Brian Robinson over Ramondre? Yeah, kind of. So yeah, I mean, I would say yes. I mean, are you a complete psycho? No, because I understand the logic, but it's still very like you drafted Ramondre to play him, right? I understand he could be like somewhat limited, but I think he'll be at a full capacity. I'm not too worried about it. It's not like he's got a hamstring issue, you know? Pittman or Terry? I'll take Terry. Caesar. Again, guys, we are at currently 892 likes. If you guys could do me a favor, for those of you who have not yet already, to show appreciation for the channel, do me a solid, click that like button down below. Try to get us to 1K likes on the stream. It'd be greatly appreciated. Again, at this current moment in time, we're going to be mentioning top 12 defenses and kickers for week 1. So I will be, as you know, slowly as I possibly can, kind of going through them 1 through 12. We'll start with the defensive position. While we do so, be sure to click the like button. Greatly appreciate it. Let's start off with our number 1 on defense, Baltimore Ravens. Number 2, Washington Commanders. Number 3, San Francisco 49ers. Number 4, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 5, Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 6, New Orleans Saints. Number 7, Minnesota Vikings. Number 8, Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 9, Buffalo Bills. Number 10, Denver Broncos. Number 11, Atlanta Falcons. And number 12, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Moving on to kicker. Number 1, Justin Tucker. Number 2, Jason Myers. Number 3, Evan McPherson. Number 4, Younghoe Koo. Number 5, Cameron Dicker. Number 6, Daniel Carlson. Number 7, Brandon McManus. Number 8, Tyler Bass. Number 9, Greg Joseph. Number 10, Jason Sanders. Number 11, Graham Gano. And number 12, Joey Sly. Thank you. Hopefully you guys were all ears and available to absorb all that information. And we're good to go. Jonathan Price, thank you very much, says, I need help I need help for a flex in 2 leagues. The first question is James Conner or Mike Williams in a full PPR. I think I have Mike Williams ahead of him. Let me confirm. Mike Williams is 32. James Conner is 20. Yeah, 45. Mike Williams is the play there. Follow-up question for your other league, full PPR. Addison or Charbonnet or Dylan in a half PPR. I would play Dylan above the rest. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Jonathan. Ian Johnston says Debo and Musgrave or Mike Thomason or I think you meant Michael Thomas. It probably auto-corrected or Kittle. Don't want too many eggs in the Purdy basket. So Debo and Musgrave or Michael Thomas and Kittle. I mean, if I have, if I'm picking one of the two, give me the Debo side. Thank you. Flow Reactions says Jamal Williams or Drake London. Play for the flex. I will play Jamal Williams there. Thank you. Aditya says, hopefully I didn't butcher that. Apologies if I did. Aditya. That seems about right. Probably awful, but it is what it is. Mingo, Collins, Dylan, Treylon Burks, or Hollywood Brown in a full PPR. Out of those group of players, I'll take Hollywood number 1, Collins number 2, Dylan 3, Mingo 4, Treylon Burks 5. So Hollywood and Collins are your 1, 2. Chris Mendoza says Mike Thomas or James Cook. I'll take James Cook there. Thank you. Cowboys at 12. Sad face. Yeah, I mean, look, I think they're going to be a great defense. But again, I don't want to trust them immediately in week 1. They're going to be a top 3 defense by the end of the year, but it'll take a little while to get there. For week 1, there are definitely better options though, for sure. Man, there are so many spam accounts that are just in this chat. Like, just get out of here, man. I gotta ban all of you. You're all banned. Boom, get cooked. They're like putting links in the chat like bozos, man. Get out of here. Chris Mendoza says okay, so we took care of that. We're going James Cook. We had Shaddy, what's up, man? You know the guy. Yeah. Anyway, would you go Deontay Johnson, James Cook, or Khalil Herbert in the flex full PPR? I have Jahan Dotson in my other flex spot already. If I'm taking one of these players in the flex in a full PPR, it's between one of the 2 running backs. If it's between Khalil Herbert and James Cook, I probably play Herbert this week. Thank you. Moving on. Let me see. There's any other? Okay, good. Let's see here. Why am I so excited for the New Orleans kicker? 5'7", 155 pounds. Christopher, you may be the only person that has ever said that on earth to this day, man. Thoughts on Scary Terry McLaurin, says Caesar. He's starting. I mean, he's on. As you can see on screen, I have him as my number. Where is he at? Number 20th ranked wide receiver. He got 2 full practices in on Thursday and Friday, so the turf toe shouldn't be an issue. Where are we at here? J Dog says, "What's up, Andrew? Good to see you back. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys. We hit over 1,000 likes. Let's go. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support in that regard. That really does help get over, the hump in that regard. Appreciate it. Okay. Donovan Langley says, in a full PPR, would I play Mike Williams or Rashad White? Look, I like Mike Williams a lot this week. I'm probably leaning towards him. Let me confirm that in my full PPR rankings. Williams is there and White is there. Yeah, I'll take Mike Williams there. Thank you. Freiermuth or Kincaid? I'll take Freiermuth. Get cooked spammers? Yeah, they're just accounts that are trying to like, oh, check out this link to watch the games today. It's like, come on, man, what are we doing? Andrew, thoughts on Logan Thomas in a full PPR? I don't even know how much he's going to play. Eric Bieniemy, of course, being a former offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs, the assumption would be that with the Washington Commanders, they would utilize and or feature a tight end. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Logan Thomas hasn't been healthy all offseason. I don't really trust it for now. If he wants to have himself a great week, he could do that on the waivers, not in my lineup or on my bench. I'll wait until I see it to believe it. I think Judy's playing. No, I don't expect him to play. The report that I read as of last night from Stephania Bell via ESPN was that based on the severity of the injury and the limitations that he was at via practice, not running full speed at all, the assumption is that we're probably not going to see him play today. That is why I have suggested Marvin Mims, and of course why I have Cortland Sutton as highly ranked as I do currently. Brody says Isaiah Likely or Freiermuth. Again, I have Isaiah Likely ranked higher, guys. You can see on screen I have rankings up to date as of this morning. So if you guys are interested, again, top 36 running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends on screen. I will continue to mention that, as that will probably answer majority of your questions. Akers or Pierce? Again, yes, I would play Akers over Pierce. If you want to do differently, Chubbs, by all means, go for it. I'm just giving you what my suggestion would be. Elliott or Osborne, full PPR? Give me Osborne, man. I expect Ramondre to play, so Elliott can't be that valuable. Donovan, we took care of. Mr. Timeless, thank you very much. Says, good morning. Kelsey Manager here. Do I play Taysom Hill or Luke Musgrave? I would play Luke Musgrave. Yeah, I'm playing Luke Musgrave. Unless you're playing in a standard league where you're like, oh, I need touchdown upside to be relevant in any sort of capacity at least. I could justify the potential play of Taysom Hill, but I'm going to go Luke Musgrave because I'm assuming you play in a half or full PPR. Ruben says, I need to drop one. Musgrave or Dulcich? I would drop Greg Dulcich. Also, let's see here. Also, Ramondre flu game incoming. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen. Maybe he has a flu game. He goes for 30 points and nobody even sees it coming. Any weather concerns as for the games? I was looking at it earlier. The percentages have gone down in comparison to 2 days ago, so we're in a little bit of a better spot ultimately. I think the biggest concern in terms of weather today, in terms of all of the games, is most likely the Baltimore Ravens game, like it was expected. That's why I don't have any of the wide receivers ranked on screen, and it's pretty much J.K. Dobbins and Isaiah Likely as the values, and Lamar, of course. DeAndre Swift or Breece Hall? I have DeAndre Swift ranked higher on screen. That's where I'd go. Pittman or Swift? I'd go with Swift there. Garrett Wilson or ETN in the flex full PPR? I'll take Garrett Wilson there. Jordan Addison or Samaje Perine? I'll take Samaje. We had subject to change. I like that name because rankings are always subject to change. But you have a question in regards to flexing DeAndre Swift or Jahan Dotson. If it's a full PPR, I'll play Jahan. If it's not, I'll probably go with Swift. Let's see here. Posner 2 says Nico Collins, Zay Jones, Gallup as my wide receiver 3. I would play Nico Collins as your wide receiver 3. Marlon Humphrey, the number 1 cornerback of the Baltimore Ravens, is out. So it'll most likely be Ronald Darby covering Nico Collins, which I'm comfortable with. Let's see here. Sim was saying D-Hop, Michael Thomas, or Deion Jackson, full PPR. I'll take D-Hop there. C-Man says, sent in a super chat. Thank you very much. He said Khalil Herbert, Christian Kirk, or James Conner in a full PPR. Flex. Let's see where I have Conner compared to those lads. So I have Conner ahead of Herbert, but I have Christian Kirk ahead of all of the groups. So Christian Kirk number 1, James Conner number 2, Khalil Herbert number 3. Thank you. Jags, what is it? Where did the question go? Jags or Broncos defense? I have the Jags defense ranked higher. Njoku or Likely? So let me just kind of reposition myself. As you guys can see on screen, I have Njoku as my number 7 tight end, and I have Likely as my number 9. So I would go Njoku there. Thank you. Dobbins or Debo? Give me Dobbins. Keenan Allen or Ramondre full PPR? Keenan Allen. Miss the old beard sometimes? I don't. I don't. So when I say that, I think you guys should probably be on the same page. I do not miss that monster. Charbonnet or Flowers? Half PPR. I probably roll with Flowers there. Thank you. Abdullah sends in a question. Dotson or Pierce full PPR? Give me the receiver. I'll take Dotson. Matthew Palmer says full PPR. Christian Kirk or Dotson? Christian Kirk's ranked higher. Additional for another league full PPR. Pick 2, Miles Sanders, Stevenson, Hopkins, Evans. I'll take... Do I want to play Hopkins over Miles Sanders? That's pretty much the primary question there. Let's see here. Where's Hopkins in comparison? DeAndre Hopkins is there. Miles Sanders should be... Where art thou? Where the heck is Sanders? Okay, Sanders is there. Okay, so of the available players that you have, Matthew Palmer, I'm playing Stevenson and Hopkins. Thank you. And then your follow-up question is Njoku, Likely, Komet, or Musgrave? I'll take Njoku there. Robert says, Likely over Ingram? No. I would rather play Evan Ingram this week. Thank you. Also, add Gainwell. Yes, if he wasn't already added in your league, you should go out and try to add Kenneth Gainwell because he will be in the rotation alongside of DeAndre Swift for maybe the whole season. We're going to have to wait and see. Obviously, maybe he's the lead back. Who knows, you know? I suppose time will tell in just about 20 minutes. Okay, where are we at here? Where are we at? Let me just make sure we're good to go. Okay, cool. Moving on. We had another question coming from Alejandro Perez. Thank you very much, Alejandro. He says, Jamal Williams or Juju? Give me Jamal Williams. E-Dub in the chat said Kirk or London. I'll take Kirk. Hoodie in the chat said Musgrave or Likely. I'll take Likely. We have a question of Jordan Love or Jimmy G as the second quarterback this week. I'll take Jordan Love there. Who do we have ranked higher? That's a great question, Dalton. Great question. Good one. Andrew, in trouble with my tight ends. Hayden Hurst or Jake Ferguson? I'll take Hayden Hurst this week. Alvin says half PPR flex. Higbee, Charbonnet, Gabe Davis, or Elijah Moore. Give me Higbee there. Thank you. The real G squared. What's up, man? Long time no see. G squared says, if Juwan Johnson is my tight end in a PPR, should I drop Jahan Dotson to pick up a second tight end? I have AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Ridley, Higgins, Addison, and London. I wouldn't drop Jahan Dotson. I mean, geez, man. I mean, what are you going to pick up another tight end for? I'd rather just have Dotson because if he goes off, maybe you can trade him. So, yeah, I'd hold. Goodness gracious, man. Talking for 2 hours, 3 hours is not easy. Swift or Godwin? Swift or Godwin? Actually, let me check this out. Let me look where I have him in my half PPR. I probably should have grabbed the water before I sat down. That was my biggest fault. I have Godwin ahead of Swift in a half PPR. Thank you. Njoku or risk with Waller. Again, the only reason you would ever play Waller is if you believe he's going to play, and if you're in a position to where you can pivot to Ferguson, Conklin, or Kincaid, if in fact he doesn't play. Thank you. Godwin or Allen? Give me Keenan Allen there, Megamind. MXJ says, drop Algier, Elijah Mitchell, Warren, or Tony. Adding Likely. I would drop Kadarius Tony, to be totally honest. Because really, there is no such thing as a Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver being relevant that's not named Tyreek Hill. Alrighty, Godwin is going to go off today. I hope so, primetime. I hope so, man. The amount of Godwin I have in my leagues, goodness gracious. Brandon Cooks or Brandon Ayuk? I'll take Ayuk out of the two Brandons. Godwin or Herbert in the full PPR format? I take Godwin there. Lockett or Sanders half PPR? That's a good question. Let me see where I have Sanders comparatively. Sanders, where art thou? I have Sanders there, and I have Lockett ahead of Sanders in a half PPR. Thank you. Okay, where are we at? Chris C3 says Khalil Herbert, Jahan Dotson, and Brandon Ayuk. Good question. Let's check it out. Let's see where Khalil is at in comparison. Khalil Herbert is there. Khalil Herbert is ahead of the bunch. Thank you. I would start him over the remaining options you had. Ayuk or Pierce? I would probably want to play. That one's tough. It's tough because like if we have a truly limited Kittle, like it will increase the value of Ayuk to a pretty good extent. I'll probably just play Ayuk there between the two. Thank you in a full PPR. Where are we at? Hollywood Brown or Nico Collins? I have Hollywood Brown ranked higher. Rashad White or Pierce? I'll take Rashad White. Ashley sends in a question, says, can I hear your breakdown on Cam Akers over Najee Harris? Yeah, the primary reason is because of the run-stop defense of the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers were allowing the fewest fantasy points per game to opposing running backs last season. Their personnel in terms of defensive line and linebackers has even improved. You bring in Hargrave as a primary defensive tackle there. You still have Bosa. You still have Armstead. So across the board, they're stacked. They're going to be able to stop the run. If we get into a position in comparison to Cam Akers, who's against the Seattle Seahawks, who gave up what? I think they were in terms of top 5 in terms of giving up fantasy points to opposing running backs. You go back to week 18 of last year, Cam Akers breaks out a 20-point fantasy game against them. Now you have Stafford to alleviate more of the pressure that is on the running game in the stacked boxes that he's going to see in comparison. I think Cam Akers is not only just a 3-down back, he's not going to have as much pressure from a Kieran Williams as much as Najee Harris has from Jalen Warren. So I'll take Cam Akers there. Thank you. Appreciate it, Ashley. We move on to what the heck is that? Where did it go? There it is. Just updated. D-Hop or Sutton? I'll take D-Hop in a full PPR there. I like Sutton a lot, though, but I'll take D-Hop. In a stadium, controlled weather environment, it's a little bit safer. Mark, that boy, says Waller or Njoku? I'd like to risk it for the biscuit. That's what I would like to do. If you are more risk averse and you're like, you know what, let me just get the player now and not have to worry about picking up somebody later, then you play Njoku and you just let it ride. Otherwise, let's try to see if we can get to a successful point of getting, obviously, Mr. Darren Waller active. Okay, so Tua or Trevor Lawrence, says Vince Jones. I'll take Trevor Lawrence. Again, rankings are on screen, guys. Up to date as of this morning. So if you're interested, check those out. Thank you very much. Additionally, we had a couple more questions flying here. Jessica, thank you very much. Says full PPR, flexing Javonte Williams, Mike Williams, or Miles Sanders. Between the 3 and a full PPR, I'll take Mike Williams. Thank you. Donahue Brown, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hey, Andrew. Antonio Gibson or Rashad White PPR? Rashad White 100%. Thank you. Matthew Morello says, I'm stumped. Zay Flowers or Elijah Moore? Give me Zay Flowers there. Evan Ingram or Isaiah Likely, says Big Ham 100. I'll take Ingram. Higbee or Juju? I'll take Higbee. Ando says James Cook or Najee Harris. For now, I'll still stick with Najee Harris. Yeah, I'll still stick with him. Appreciate all the hard work, says Auntie Slayer. Auntie Slayer, what's up, man? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Rashad White or OBJ in the flex? Rashad White. Again, the fact that you guys don't see OBJ on the screen should give you a little bit of an indication as to what I think of his potential upside in the given week. He has upside. It's just not, it's not as high as someone like Rashad White, who's a 3-down back in a game that should be a higher scoring event between those two teams. Are you going to do kicker and defensive rankings again? Maybe we'll do it in like 2 minutes. German Primetime says Thielen and Shaheed PPR. Give me Thielen there. Thank you. Rockstar says Najee or Javonte. I'll take Najee. Terry McLaurin, Addison, or Kittle? Twisted Piper. I would play McLaurin there. Goated Clasher says J.K. Dobbins or Drake London. Give me J.K. Dobbins. James Conner or Drake London. Give me James Conner. Lakeith Lee says Walker or Akers. Kenneth Walker or Cam Akers? Is that the question? If that is the primary question, I will take... Who do I prefer? I mean, it honestly is Kenneth Walker. Slightly, but it is. I'll take Kenneth Walker. I believe in that offense more. I think they'll move the ball at a far greater rate and pace, and it'll give him more chances to score in comparison. That's just kind of the way I see it from now. Football Sunday, baby. Yeah, that's right, Dale. That's right. Dalvin Cook or Miles Sanders? I'll go with Miles Sanders for now. I think Dalvin Cook could play a pretty big role, but considering there's other guys like Breece Hall and, of course, Michael Carter in that backfield, it certainly lowers his potential upside. Again, rankings are on screen. If you guys are interested, like someone's asking Musgrave or Chigoziem Okonkwo. Again, I have Chigoziem ranked, but I do not have Musgrave. That is on purpose because Musgrave is lower ranked and is outside of that top 16 overall standing. Appreciate it. Okay. let's see here. Do I want to rank kickers and defense? Yeah, we'll do it really quickly, okay? We're going to go through it rapid fire. All right, here we go. I'm not even going to say the number that corresponds with these players. I'm just going to say them in order from 1 to 12. Ravens, Commanders, 49ers, Eagles, Jaguars, Saints, Vikings, Steelers, Bills, Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys. On to kickers, we have Tucker, Myers, McPherson, Koo, Dicker, Carlson, McManus, Bass, Joseph, Sanders, Gano, and Sly. Thank you. Alrighty. I have not forgotten. Someone had asked me who I think is going to win this week in a lot of these games. We'll do that in about 4 minutes from now. Do the Marvel Stones make a comeback next week? I don't know, Travis. That's a great question. I'll see if I can find those stones. They're hidden, man. They're across the universe. It's tough to kind of, leave the desk and stop working to go find them. It definitely is tough. Anthony sends in a question. Says, Akers, Drake London, or Antonio Gibson? I will play Akers out of those three. Also, should I drop Chigoziem Okonkwo or Zay Jones for the Saints defense? I don't want to play Dallas this week. If you're going to drop one of those two options, if Chigoziem Okonkwo is not your starting tight end and you have someone better, I would drop. Yeah, I'd feel comfortable dropping him or Zay Jones. Honestly, I don't mind either of the two. Doesn't make a difference to me. Seahawks or Vikings defense? I have Vikings ranked higher. Thank you. Let's see here. Derek Carr told his brother David to take Juwan Johnson in his draft. Gonna pepper Johnson like Waller this year. I'm hoping you're right, James. I'm hoping you're right. That's insider trading, by the way. I know George Kittle is limited. Should I play Tyler Conklin? No, I'd play George Kittle still. I don't want to be the guy that has George Kittle on his bench. I just don't. I can't. It'll hurt me too much if he plays well. Why Sanders over Lockett in the flex? I think I said it the other way around. I'm pretty sure I have Lockett over Sanders. Moving on, we have ETN or T. Higgins in the flex full PPR. I'll take ETN there over Higgins. ETN, yeah. ETN's the play there. Khalil Herbert, Higbee, or Flowers, or P. Ryan says fast. I'll take Herbert there. Thank you. Okay, so let's see week one's matchups, huh? Week 1 NFL. What do we have in store here, shall we? So Bengals and Browns. Who do I think wins week 1? I'll take the Browns week 1. I'll take the Ravens over the Texans. I'll take the Vikings over the Bucks. Falcons over the Panthers. Commanders over the Cardinals. Jaguars over the Colts. I'll take the Steelers to beat the 49ers today. I'll take the Saints to beat the Titans. I'll take the Raiders beating the Broncos. I'll take the Eagles over the Patriots. I'll take the Seahawks over the Rams. Chargers over the Dolphins. I'll take the Cowboys over the Giants. I'll take the Bills over the Jets. I don't know about that Green Bay Chicago game. I'll take, man, if Jordan Love doesn't turn over the ball, they win that game. They objectively win that game. But is he going to play it safe? I'll take the Packers. All right, those are my predictions. They may not sound great, but I'm throwing them out there. We'll see how accurate I was by the end of the week. Moving on, standard, we have Javonte Williams or Chris Godwin. I'll take Chris Godwin there. Juwan Johnson or Dalton Kincaid. Large, I would take Juwan Johnson there. Guys, again, reminder, rankings are literally on screen to the right of me, updated as of this morning. A lot of the questions that y'all are asking can be answered by just looking at the screen. New profile pic goes hard. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that. So yeah, it could very easily be answered by just boop. Hey, look, it's on the screen. Andrew doesn't even have to, strain his voice any longer. But we're here for another 9 minutes. Do appreciate y'all coming out here supporting today. Start Mingo or Zay Jones. Let me check my rankings. I have Zay Jones ranked higher than Mingo. Moving on, Rashad White or Deontay Johnson. I'll take Rashad White. Luke Musgrave, Juwan Johnson, Ferguson, Conklin. I'll take Juwan Johnson out of the group of tight ends you mentioned there. Flotation swag. Mr. 305 says, flex spot, London, Brandon Cooks, Javonte Williams, full PPR. Give me Drake London. Luke Federico says, Rashad White, Debo, Drake London, pick 2. I'll take Rashad White and Debo. TFLDN says, J.K. Dobbins or Jahan Dotson in a standard. I'll take J.K. Dobbins. I feel like Green Bay going to surprise people. I agree, man. I'm hoping that, Mr. Jordan Love doesn't turn over the ball too much. Because that's kind of the determining factor, because they're going to be able to run the ball very well. Their offensive line for the Green Bay Packers is great. Let's see here. Where were we at? We just like listening to your voice. Andrew says, JP, yeah, you just like me repeating myself. I understand it. I get it. I edit enough of my videos to understand the soothing nature of the voice. Zay says, thoughts of Deshaun Watson over Daniel Jones. Yeah, I prefer that. Thank you. Nathan James says, full PPR, Devonta Smith, Miles Sanders, or Kenneth Walker. In a full PPR scoring format, I believe Devonta Smith is the highest ranked player of the three. I can confirm this in a moment. I have Devonta Smith ranked higher than all three, or out of the three, ranked the highest. Thank you. Eugene Leone, thank you very much, Eugene. Says full PPR, Swift or Sutton. I'll take Sutton there. Thank you. Happy Football Sunday, says Steven. Thank you. Where are we at here? We took there. Corey Nelson says Zay Jones, Mingo, or Tyler Boyd. I'll take Zay Jones out of the three. Ryan says Elijah Moore or Kendrick Bourne. I'll take Elijah Moore. Jeffrey Cunningtown says excellent quality. What is this? Yo, just okay. Well, yeah, no, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, but you're banned. Bye. I mean, I don't know what's going on here, man. These bot accounts need to be relaxing. Carlson or Younghoe Koo? I believe I have Younghoe Koo ranked higher. I do. Yeah, I have Younghoe Koo ranked higher this week. What's a must-watch morning game? I don't know. Who's on your fantasy team, right? I think that's kind of the indication. Pickens or Deion Jackson? I'll take Pickens in the full PPR. London or Pirine PPR? I'll take London there. Joel Rivera. Jose says Miles Sanders or Madison. Give me Madison there, Jose. AJ Dillon or Mike Evans, half PPR. I'll take Mike Evans there, Slime. Or, yeah, Slim. We had Lakeith Lee come back and say Khalil Herbert or Amari Cooper. Leaning towards Coop. I agree. Play Cooper in the full PPR format. What can we expect from Sutton this season? He'll be good until Judy returns. Before Judy returns, be sure to trade him. Moving on, Rachaad White or Pierce, half PPR. I believe the half PPR rankings are on screen. As it currently stands on screen, we have Rachaad White at 21 and Dameon Pierce at 24. That's how I'd run it. Thank you. Robinson or Michael Thomas, full PPR. I think I'm still sticking with Brian Robinson there. Best pick'em line. Joe Mixon going higher on his receiving yards. I don't know what it's moved to. It could have moved recently. I had it at 19.5 on Friday. It could have gone up. It could have gone down. Let me go ahead and look at it again. It's at 21.5 yards, so it's gone up 2 yards. I'll still take that number. I think it's a great overall pick. I also like Justin Jefferson going higher on his fantasy point total of 15. I think it's 15.95 via Underdog. Thank you. Will Likely over Freiermuth. Missed you, man. Why Likely over Freiermuth? I don't like Freiermuth a lot against the 49ers. The issue is the 49ers are pretty good at stopping opposing tight ends. They're pretty good in terms of coverage from their safeties coming down and playing in the box and covering tight ends. So in that overall circumstance, I'm probably thinking Likely against Houston, easier matchup, more to go ahead and kind of at least, I think it's more touchdown upside along with the idea, because obviously they're going to score more points because they're taking on Houston. I think that the target upside is also even in that regard higher on Likely side. Miles Sanders or Lockett in a standard league. In a standard league, I'll take the running back. Michael Thomas or Javonte, I'll take Michael Thomas. Who will be the player of the day? Taysom Hill. I don't know. I'm just joking. I have no clue. The player of the day, the guy that like outproduces all of his expectations. Time will tell, I suppose, huh? Jordan Addison or Nico Collins, says Allen. I'll take Collins. Khalil Herbert or Nico Collins. Give me Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert or Swift. I'll take Khalil. Elijah Moore or Rashad Bateman. Give me Rashad Bateman. Burks or Nico. Give me Nico Collins. Pick 2, Rachaad White, Jamal Williams, or Chris Godwin. Full PPR. Give me White and Godwin. I'll take both the Tampa Bay guys there. Do I drop Fournette for A-Chain? I would. Fournette only gets signed this season if someone gets hurt. Lockett or Amari Cooper. I'll take Amari Cooper in a PPR. Wait, Swift becomes the starter now? Does he? Or because he was already the starter, regardless of whether or not Rashad Penny was active. So I think he's going to play well regardless. I mean, if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, I had a video like must draft running backs? I don't know. League winning running backs? Swift was in there because whoever's associated with that backfield, specifically based on what we saw from Miles Sanders last year, has a lot of value. Dylan says 3 touchdown game from Taysom Hill. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait. Marcus Parker says, between Mostert and Sanders, who is a safer play? Who has more upside? Between Mostert and Sanders, who is a safer play and who has more upside? Safer play is Sanders. The upside is on the side of Mostert. Thank you. Lockett or Mike Williams? On screen, I have Lockett ahead of Williams, so that's where I'd go. 1K likes. Let's go. That's right. Let's go, Gabe. Let's go, baby. Let's see here. Ricky Canales says Hopkins or Pierce. I will take Hopkins in a full PPR format there. Thank you. Swift has been partially working with receivers in practice. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they line up out wide. It's going to be him and Gainwell. It's going to be a lot of a rotation there. Maybe even a little bit of a sprinkle of Boston Scott. Don't be surprised. Deontay Johnson or Sutton. I'll take Sutton there. Deion Jackson or AJ Dillon. I'll take AJ Dillon. Thank you. Hopkins or Pierce. Yeah, we already answered that, Ricky. Hopefully the YouTube delay, it's like 15 seconds, catches up, and you're good to go. Terry or Kirk. I'll take Terry McLaurin there. We're good to go. We're good to go. Johnny Sean or Shan says Higbee or Juju. I'll take Higbee. Bateman or Charbonnet. I'll take Bateman. Hopkins, Juju, or Johnson. I'll take Hopkins. Zay Flowers or Pickens. Give me Pickens. Mike Williams or Miles Sanders. I'll take Mike Williams. Waller or Kittle. I will happily wait for... Considering they're both injured, you don't really have to risk it to wait for Waller. Just play Kittle now because you know he's active. You know what I mean? Dotson or James Cook. Let's take the running back there. Should I stack Chase and Higgins or bring in Sutton? Stack the Cincinnati receivers. Should be a shootout of a game. Surprise Flowers isn't ranked, to be honest. Rookie wide receivers, man, I don't trust them too much. Let's wait and see what kind of a snap share he gets, and then in week 2 we can kind of adjust accordingly and approach it as such. Good luck, everyone. Thank you very much, Scotty. I appreciate that. London or Dotson? Give me Dotson. Higgins or Lockett? Give me Higgins. Actually, no. In a full PPR, I think I have. Wait a minute. Checking. Cross-referencing. In a full PPR, I have Lockett at 16 and Higgins at 17. So I'll take Lockett there. Evans or Sutton? Give me Sutton. Game time, good luck. Thank you very much, Rockstar. Drop Tank Bigsby for Gainwell? Yes, let's try that. Let's do that. I am high on Najee Harris this year. What do you think? Yeah, why not? I had him as my number 10 running back in terms of pre-draft process, so I don't mind it. Drink some water, Andrew. You deserve it. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're definitely going to get to multiple bottles of water. Bills, Falcons, or Vikings? I have the Vikings ranked highest amongst that group, Craig. PPR, Michael Thomas or Jamal Williams. In a PPR format, it's probably Mike Williams there Mike Thomas there at that point. But I want to play Jamal based on touches, but I think the PPR format really does help Michael Thomas overtake him in terms of points. Is Terry going to play today? Yes, he should be playing. He practiced fully on Thursday and Friday. Should be good to go. It's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Kickoff for week 1 has begun. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll be back tomorrow for some waiver wire pickups. Don't forget, if you guys have not yet already, click the like button before you leave. I'm going to go ahead, cue the music, and we're off into the sunset. You can, if in fact, for example, you're looking for rankings, okay? Like I've mentioned already this offseason on a multitude of times, you can check out Underdog Fantasy, sign up using code Andrew, make that first time deposit. If and when you do, you will get rankings from my email to yours every single every single Sunday morning subsequently from here on out, from weeks 2 through 18. So you'll be able to take advantage of all the rankings, half PPR, full PPR, flex, so you don't have to, get in a line and hope your question's answered. All you got to do, again, sign up via Underdog Fantasy today, make that first time deposit minimum of $10, and of course, take advantage of the opportunity. Additionally, a couple other reminders before I head out here, okay? Man, I'm sweating. I'm a little glossy over here. Couple reminders. At this current moment in time, again, for those of you who are wondering if you're eligible, the map right here via Underdog Fantasy will determine your eligibility. You have to be a specific age and you have to be in a specific location. Additionally, if you sign up, you'll also be able to take advantage of the new offer where you get a free pick'em that is a mystery player that is at an advantage. Typically, it's like 0.5 of a specific stat. They're always going to crush it and be good to go. Outside of that, you could always check out Patreon if you want rankings and or ask me questions there. Outside of that, I'm wearing the hoodie, the greetings and salutations. If you guys haven't checked out the merch, you can check out andrewkirchhoffshop.com, link down in the description. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Good luck on your matchups this Sunday. Let's hope we stay healthy. And until tomorrow, I will see you guys. We're cueing the music. Andrew's heading out. I'll see you guys. Peace.